teams are out here at Stamford Bridge. Remember when Chelsea won 5 in a row towards the end of 2024 and Enzo Maresca was trying to calm down fans who thought they might win the title? Well, he was so right that since then they've been pretty much as bad as Southampton. Makes this one a decent matchup with room for jeopardy. Will Southampton get a third win of the season and avoid the low points record in the Premier League? Or will Chelsea get back to some kind of form? Here's your commentary team on Talksport for Chelsea against Southampton. Premier League winner Martin Keown alongside Sam Matterface.
Well, Chelsea take on the worst team in the league tonight with frustration in the air after a midwinter meltdown and a manager that is talking in riddles and rhymes. Well, here's one that might sum up the current situation. When Santa came down the chimney, the Chelsea fans were happy to shout, "We might not win the title, but we're second and we'll be there or thereabouts." But those girls and boys got no January toys. There was no money to help them out. Since then, the defence has gone slack. They've been left feeling blue. The Starman has stopped firing too. Since Santa came down the chimney, Chelsea have looked like they just haven't had a clue. Chelsea have won just 3 games in 12. They've thrown away lead after lead after lead. And of those 3 wins, Martin Keown, those victories have come against Morecambe, relegation-threatened Wolverhampton Wanderers, and West Ham United here when they were incredibly lucky. Tonight they need a win and they need to do it with a song and dance.
Have you been writing that? You've been sitting next to me writing that, haven't you? You haven't spoken for 20 minutes. Is that what you've come up with?
Listen, I thought it'd be right up your street because you love talking in riddles.
Yes, well, you know, I just expect, though, Chelsea now to have far too much for Southampton. If the earlier games they've been keeping an eye on, they realise that there's teams now coming up on their back. So they need to get a result here tonight to try to put pressure on Man City. We're talking about maybe the top 5 for the coefficiency this season, but to think they're in the Conference League, as you quickly reminded me earlier in the evening, that it just shows you really how much they fell since this new ownership was coming to the club already, and they've got to start climbing out of it.
2 changes for Chelsea, all in blue tonight, apart from the white socks, attacking the goal away to our left, the shed end in the first half. Southampton in a luminous green and, well, maybe yellow, I don't know, it's a cross between the 2 tops. They look like steward tops with black shorts, attacking the goal away to our right. They've made 5 changes from the beating at home against Brighton. There's always someone worse off than you, and Southampton are worse off than Chelsea. They've won only 2 of their last 19 games, and 15 of those have ended in defeat. We're underway live on Talksport. And Martin Keown is alongside me. Southampton were taken apart at St Mary's at the weekend. I mean, how do they stand up to Chelsea tonight?
Well, I mean, look, it's virtually a new team. Is it half the team? It's interesting, very direct. Ramsdale, he's kicked that ball diagonally from right to left to put Chelsea under pressure. It's come back to Southampton. So getting lots of early touches of the ball. They just need to build their way into the game. Will be a back 3 for them. It's going into midfield. It's up to Chelsea really to go and press and dominate from the off.
Yeah, it does look like a back 3 with Joe Aribo playing on the left side of that for Southampton. We'll go through the 2 11s for you in just a second. Chelsea can go above Manchester City tonight if they manage to get a victory here. Southampton, if they did manage to win, would still be 10 points behind Wolverhampton Wanderers, depending on what happens in that game at Molineux. Chelsea win a free kick on halfway and they get things moving again very quickly.
Interesting that Neto is actually playing down the middle as we start, and Kunku is playing out on the right-hand side.
No, he's playing on the left then, Kunku.
Sorry, yes.
And Jadon Sancho playing on the right-hand side. So basically every single one of those Chelsea attackers is playing in a position which wouldn't be their first choice.
No, we certainly didn't expect it.
Here is Nkunku on the left, taking the ball tight to the touchline, then attacking the 18-yard box, taking on Sugawara, plays it infield to Cucurella, then Palmer nudges it back to Caicedo. It's pushed wide out towards the far side, the right, and it's retrieved eventually by Jadon Sancho. Gets it back to Malagusto, who's playing at right back ahead of Reece James tonight. It might just be that Reece James is on the bench because the games have come thick and fast, Martin.
You've got to manage that injury. He's had terrible luck with his hamstring, so too many games in quick succession. I think it's just sensible management.
Chelsea beat Southampton 5-1 at the beginning of December. It was a feisty first half. 4 goals and a sending off. Chelsea were already 3-1 up before Jack Stevens decided it'd be a good idea to pull Mark Cucurella's hair and gets sent off. Palmer and Sancho added second half goals. They'll be big favourites again tonight. Ball right side with Sancho down into the path of Neto. Neto moving into an advanced position, followed out there by Bella Kotchap. Bella Kotchap gets out over the far side, smuggles the ball clear. I had ketchup on my mind then.
Yeah, even you make mistakes, Sam. It's interesting.
I make quite a lot, actually, especially when I'm sitting next to you. You make me nervous.
You're out of order blaming me.
Chelsea have a throw over on the far side. Jurgensen is the goalkeeper. Gusto, Adarabioyo, Colwell and Cucurella the back four. Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo in midfield. Then it's Sancho, Neto and Nkunku in front of Cole Palmer, who's playing in the 10. Here is Fernandez, forward towards the right, cut out rather easily by Sulemana, gets it back to his goalkeeper, and he will kick it long. Let's go off to half-time at Molineux. Adam Bridge.
Wolves 1, Fulham 1. Sessejon's goal after 65 minutes, cancelled out by João Gomez. Excellent strike after 19 minutes. Wolves probably deserve to be in front, but at half-time it's Wolves 1, Fulham 1.
Fernandez being played in down the left channel, trying to get in advance of James Bree, who comes off, shuts off the angle, guides it back to Aaron Ramsdale, and the Southampton goalkeeper will kick clear towards the halfway line. Chelsea retrieve it very quickly, and Nkunku runs into traffic. They work the ball wide out to the right, and Bree now breaks away on the right-hand side for Southampton into Onuachu, and then back to Fernandez. Fernandez, who's playing as one of the two sort of 10s on the inside channels behind Onuachu. Plays the ball out to the right-hand side. There's a foul on Cucurella, and Flynn Downs was the man who committed that foul, and it's a free kick to Chelsea. Half-time in the game at Selhurst Park. It's over on Talksport 2 if you want full commentary, but watching for us, Ollie Klink.
Now, half-time, it's Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 0. Ismaila Sarr's goal on the half-hour mark sees Palace in front here. He tapped home after a header from Chris Richards was saved by Martinez. Villa have had the ball in the net twice. Both were ruled out for offside. The second half will be live on Talksport 2 at half-time at Selhurst Park. It's Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 1.
On the Talksport app, we've got live commentary of Brighton against Bournemouth. It's half-time there for Ian Abrahams.
Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0. João Pedro 1 and converted the 12th-minute penalty that has Brighton ahead. Matoma's hit a post. Bournemouth had chances too, but Brighton have been the better team. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0, second half on the Talksport app.
Yes, Fernandez has pinched it and sent the ball out towards the left. Smallbone has then found Sulemana, who's gone charging down the left-hand side. He's dragged his team right up the pitch, got into the penalty area, was nudged to the floor by the covering Tosin Adarabioyo. There was half-hearted appeals from the Southampton fans for a penalty, but he was never going to get one, Martin Keown.
No, but Tosin was stretched a little bit there. Didn't look quite comfortable. I think it's been a feature of Chelsea. Their shape at the back, they kind of get pulled all over the place, and in 1v1 situations, they look vulnerable. Good ball from Palmer.
Out towards the wide right. Bella Kotchap goes out to meet Neto, who is now drifted into a wide right position. He's taking on the German, skips into the box, does a lovely little trick, and then another little Cruyff turn to get the ball away from the German, then plays it back to Palmer, edge of the area, needs a bit of extra support, takes it wide of Smallbone, and then just nudges it out to Cucurella, who's 10 yards back from the edge of the Southampton penalty area. Nkunku, Cucurella, then back to halfway where it's with Levi Colwell. The Southampton team, by the way, Ramsdale in goal. It's Bree, Bella Kotchap and Aribo as sort of a back three, with Sugawara playing on the right side and Carl Walker-Peters playing on the left. Then Downs and Smallbone in the centre, and Matthias Fernandez and Sulemana playing as sort of 2-10s, often then drifting wide and supporting Onuachu in attack. Here is Sugawara on the right-hand side. Fernandez picks it up edge of the penalty area as they come forward towards the edge of the Chelsea box. Onuachu is lurking with intent on the edge of the 6-yard box as the cross comes in, and Tosin's intervention to nod that away, Martin, was absolutely key.
It was really important, and I don't know how much he knew about the player behind him, in all honesty. The way that he was marking there, his body shape, he gets away with one.
Well, it's 0-0 here. We played just over 6 and a bit minutes live on Talksport. Elsewhere tonight on the Talksport app, Brighton 1, Bournemouth 0. Talksport 2 has Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 0. Aston Villa have had the ball in the net a couple of times now, and both goals have been disallowed. And Wolves 1, Fulham 1 is on Talk and the Talksport app. Ball played upfield by Palmer into Fernandez. He hits the ball and runs straight into Flynn Downs. Bree then nabs it and Southampton have it back. But that was a promising attack from Chelsea, who turned defence into attack very quickly, but couldn't keep possession of the ball.
No, Fernandez there, that's where you're looking for the class. You know, better touch, he overhits it, and then it's intercepted quite easy. Interesting that Chelsea are going mostly down the right-hand side. And then Nkunku's playing on the left. He's not going into the middle. Neto sometimes in the middle, sometimes out right. Palmer is sort of living on that right-hand side of the pitch, and it looks more fluid though on that side.
Chelsea should beat Southampton tonight. Everybody thinks it. But they don't have a great record here, Martin, against Southampton. Saints won 1-0 at Stamford Bridge in their last Premier League visit back in 2022-23. I suppose the good news for Chelsea is they haven't won consecutive away league games at Stamford Bridge since March 1985. Chelsea will look to try and work the ball through the thirds, try to create chances through possession. They like to play with quick breaks, but opponents have sort of become wise to that now. Southampton, well, they've completely changed under Juric.
So there's an example there. Ball into the front player. Jackson, with his pace, is running into the channel, and then Neto, who's now the centre forward, gets bullied off the ball. You can't build with Neto through the middle.
Won by Fernandes in midfield, given to Nkunku down the left-hand side. He tries to twirl away from Fernandes, gets it back again, then runs into a central area, but traffic stops him from going any further. Smallbone comes across and wins it, and Chelsea lose possession. Yet they've won just one of their last 8 matches. One of the last 9 matches, under Ivan Juric. They've been completely altered to the way that Russell Martin had them playing. He had them sort of playing out from the back, progressive football, but the Croatian has tried to implement an aggressive sort of man-to-man marking system, and that's a gear change that is always going to take time to adjust to. Here is Caicedo into Palmer. Palmer trying to work it further wide to Sancho. Sancho to the right angle of the penalty area, taking on Kyle Walker-Peters. Low flashing ball through the 6-yard box. And the lack of a centre forward there, incredibly apparent, because there was no one to tap home what would have been a finish from 3 yards.
Absolutely, it's glaring, isn't it? And Sancho, he's looked comfortable on the right-hand side. It's easy for him. He's just kept it simple. He's beat his opponent, whipped it across the box. No Chelsea player is reading that.
0-0. And it's Talksport on a Tuesday night, the first night of 3 big Premier League nights of action. 4 games tonight available for you on the Talksport app. Tomorrow night's even better. We got 5, and then Thursday night we round it off with West Ham and Leicester live from the London Stadium at 8 o'clock on Thursday night. Friday night we start out FA Cup sweep, and we've got commentaries Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, plus our EFL programmes as well. The best place to be for live football is, of course, Talksport. Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca needs a win, especially with the air of protest in the air. Chelsea have lost their last 3 games, but they are heavily backed to complete a victory here. No sight of goal so far. Here is Neto, 10 minutes gone, 0-0. Over to Sancho, far side. A yard in from the touchline. He's being chased out there by Aribo. It goes back infield to Gusto. Gusto back towards the halfway line. Again, everyone in Southampton yellow is behind the ball here. And Chelsea looking to try and find a way to build. They go wide to the left and Nkunku. Is that his best role, playing as a wide left winger?
It's interesting because what are they now called? They're inside forwards, aren't they? Salah's not really, is he, a centre forward? He plays out wide, so it can work, but you can't be detached from the team, and Nkunku tends to do that. He's not going across into central areas often enough. He doesn't really look comfortable in this wide left position.
Great run by Jadon Sancho, and then he didn't look up and play the pass to Palmer, who had burst in behind the defence and actually had made a really good run in behind the Southampton defence there. And if Sancho had spotted that, Chelsea would have had a one-on-one chance with Cole Palmer running through on goal. Here's Neto heading it out towards the right as Chelsea look to try and develop an attack in the right wing position with Palmer. Palmer has got support from Jadon Sancho outside him. He goes square to Fernandes instead. He plays it infield to Cucurella, who tries to get round the back of the defender. Finn Downs does really well, tracks the run, manages to intervene and gets Southampton to relative safety up the pitch.
He does it really well, but it comes from the Chelsea right hand side, and it's a bit like a carousel really, that Neto starts often, doesn't he, in that middle area, rotates around. The little triangle with Palmer and Sancho on that right hand side does look promising for Chelsea.
I can imagine you on a carousel, one of those old fashioned ones with a little 99 flake.
Yeah, just don't leave your baggage behind, don't forget that next trip you go on. You're just telling me about all your holidays that coming up, Sam.
Here is Tosin Adarabioyo, kicks it straight in the face of Matheus Fernandes, who was closing him down. He was under pressure, Tosin, in the centre circle as the ball came back to him. Fernandes went to close him down, and he just walloped it straight in the face of the Portuguese 20-year-old.
Cheers.
Ouch. played under Amorim at Sporting, signed in the summer. He's a Portuguese under-21 international. He said after the heavy defeat the weekend that Saints have got to fight more. Well, certainly he took a blow for the team there, Martin.
Yeah, he was up before a count of 10 as well, in fairness to him.
Here is Tosin towards the right-hand side, playing it to Malagusto. And Chelsea looking to try and create an attack from playing out from the back now. And Jorgensen, who had a bit of a wobble at the weekend.
Cucurella sitting right at the base, so they've tried and form a 2 with Caicedo sitting at the base and Fernandes slightly higher. They can't get off that. If you call that a ladder, then they can't get their first foot on the ladder, can they, at the moment?
Well, Cucurella's coming in, as you say, from left back to play into that central area in midfield to add an extra number so that Fernandes can be released further up the pitch. But they've given it away here, and Onuachu has a shot from the right angle of the box as the ball comes back after Chelsea's failure to play out from the back. It was turned over quickly by Southampton. They fed it down the right for Onuachu. And actually, he wasn't too far away from finding the top corner there.
He wasn't. And Chelsea looked like almost schoolboys there, trying to come out from the back. Lost it again once more.
Well, they are schoolboys in effect, Martin. They're the youngest starting 11 in the entire Premier League. Colwell's just nabbed it midway inside his own half in front of the Southampton player, Matheus Fernandes. But in doing so, he's committed a foul and given away a free kick. He thought he'd escaped there. Didn't manage to get away to safety.
I think that's a little bit of a silly foul. You know, he's a young central defender as well. He's been comparable recently with goals they've conceded. He's flying up quite often. He's more concerned with keeping the line and catching people offside than he is staying with his opponent. And he comes all the way out there, makes a foul. No reason to do that.
Well, they've given away a free kick here. A good 10 yards, or maybe 12 yards back from the edge of the D. Smallbone will play it square onto Flynn Downs and then Bree and then onto Sugawara, and Bree goes down the outside of the box, produces a cross towards the far edge, and Carl Walker-Peters heads it back across the face of goal, and then Nkunku will allow that to go out of play. And Martin Keown, that ball from Bree was so good that if it hadn't have been Carl Walker-Peters and had been a centre forward or a winger of some repute able to finish, that would have been 1-0 Southampton.
It was. And what was interesting is Peters there, the power he shows in the air and the determination. He's been watched by 2 Chelsea players.
Well, let's go off to the game at the Bet365 Stadium. There's been a goal for Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It's one apiece. Stoke have equalised against the Borough here. Bay John Ho sweeping home 12 yards, finishing off a good move. His second goal of the season. Stoke 1, Borough 1.
Well, Martin's showing his frustration as the ball went up towards Pedro Neto and he couldn't get anywhere near it. I mean, you can't have Pedro Neto as your forward. He's 5'5", and then kick the ball long up to him and expect him to duel with Bella Kotchap.
Well, he wants it into his feet. He doesn't really want to be running into the channel, so they've got to try and go through the thirds, but they can't because Southampton are stopping them from building.
Here's Walker-Peters over on the left-hand side, trying to take on Sancho, who's back helping out his defence. Smallbone gets it again. Southampton have had the better chances in this game, by the way. And Onuachu has just glanced another header towards Jorgensen's goal, but they've got more men in advance, they've created more opportunities, and they've looked the likelier to score the opening goal in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, a few rumblings here from the locals, the supporters not used to seeing this, and they're getting really kind of nervy. Goalkeeper not able to develop. It's not come out of the penalty box yet. He's waiting for an opportunity.
The referee tonight is Tom Bramall, by the way, our VAR Craig Pawson. The Chelsea fans, listen to the noise.
Well, everyone's gone man for man, and the only ball out is to Neto, and it's like he's not winning those balls.
And that's a tactical issue, isn't it?
It is a tactical issue.
Ball has been sent up to Neto. He's now fighting with Bella Kotchap. Didn't win it. Comes back again. Up towards Smallbone. He loses it. Now Caicedo has it. Where should he go? As you said, man for man. We said that's what Juric wants to play. Played down the right-hand side. Sancho trying to isolate Walker-Peters, who's got his back to Sancho. Plays it into Bella Kotchap. And they play their way rather easily out from the back.
How casual was that?
Well, they've been the better team so far.
They certainly have.
And we've played 17 minutes. It's Chelsea 0, Southampton 0 on Talksport. We're live at Stamford Bridge with Sky Sports, and don't forget that you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Search Now Sports. Half-time at Stoke. Jeff Peters.
Yeah, Stoke 1, Borough 1. Marcus Forss putting Borough ahead. Fabulous strike after 20. Should have had a second. Conway with miss of the season. Just missed an empty goal from 2 yards. Bay John Ho with a leveller on the stroke of half-time. Stoke 1, Borough 1.
Elsewhere in League 1, by the way, half-time Northampton 0, Barnsley 1. Wigan lead Huddersfield at half-time 2-0 in League 1. In League 2, it's goalless Bromley Bradford. The leaders Walsall 1-0 up away at Cheltenham. Fleetwood drawing 1-1 away at Gillingham, and it's 0-0 at half-time between Tranmere and Accrington Stanley. And in the Scottish Premiership, Celtic, the leaders, leading Aberdeen by 2-0. You're up to date. It's Talksport. The Chelsea fans are certainly experiencing rumbles of discontent around Stamford Bridge as Philip Jorgensen again finds himself with the ball at his feet and no real options. And then it's released to Caicedo. He looks up and everybody's marked. There's no spare man. There's not enough movement in front of him. So he goes back to Jorgensen. Frustration, Martin.
Yeah, very predictable. I mean, clearly Chelsea have got the better players on the pitch. It's just they can't make that count. And the goalkeeper's had more touches at the ball than anybody else. Look, they're in real trouble here, Chelsea now. Oh dear.
Caicedo's just played it across his own penalty area to Tosin Adebayo and nearly put it straight out of play. Now they've reversed it into Palmer from Sancho, who then can't find it out to Neto. It's cut out by Bella Kotchap. He's then hurt himself as he's gone back to intervene, and he looks to be in some pain. He's gone down, thumping the floor, and we're going to have a delay here whilst he gets treatment, I think.
I think he thinks Neto has stepped on him just as he makes that interception. It's quite physical between those two.
Well, he seems to be okay now after some wild histrionics. And he's getting back to his feet now. Is Armel Bella Kotchap, who is making his first start for Southampton since 2023, would you believe? He's only played... Yeah, I mean, he's hardly played any football in 2 years.
You broke his shoulder, you told me.
Yeah, he broke his shoulder when he was on loan at PSV last season. He only started 3 games there, and he hasn't started at all this season. So he's played a couple of times recently off the bench, but he has he's played very little football in the last 2 years. Downs takes the ball off Cucurella, who seems to be the furthest forward-thinking player in the Chelsea midfield. It's cut out and gone out towards the near touchline. It's played by Fernandes against Colwell. It goes out for a throw-in 10 yards short of the halfway line for Southampton. Let's go off to the game at Molineux. A goal for Adam Bridge.
Wolves 1, Fulham 2. They scored 60 seconds into the first half, and they've done it at the start of the second half. Muniz this time with his 5th Premier League goal of the season. Ball through from Traore, and the most delicate of chipped finishes from the edge of the box over the top of the on-rushing Jose Sarr. Wolves 1, Fulham 2.
Well, Chelsea had a chance, their first chance of the game, Martin, and it came because Southampton made a mistake. It was pinched by Caicedo in midfield, off the toes of Sugawara, played it into Palmer, but as soon as Palmer got back into a sort of shooting position, he was surrounded by yellow jerseys, and they eventually huffed him out of the ball.
Yeah, Bella Kotchap getting a really good foot in. He's looking good actually at the back there. Just interesting, the best bet for Chelsea is when they win it back off of Southampton, not necessarily from their own good play.
And Nkunku down the left. Go off to half-time at Cardiff in just a second. Here is Colwell once more, high up inside Southampton territory. And Nkunku struggling with Sugawara on this near touchline. They go back to halfway, so we'll go off to the Cardiff City Stadium. Here's Talksport's Lawrence Mora.
Yeah, Cardiff 0, Hull 0. Cardiff's Callum Robinson's had a couple of efforts. Neither really troubled the visitors' keeper Pandur. Hull are playing tidy enough football, but it feels like these two relegation-threatened teams are desperate not to lose rather than desperate to win. Cardiff 0, Hull 0.
Here it's still 0-0, and it's Fernandes playing a reverse ball into Palmer. First time effort, didn't catch it. Sort of tried to dig it out. It was a bit behind him when he tried to pull the trigger. He maybe rushed that a little bit. Coming in off the inside right channel, played down the middle by Fernandes. He got towards the edge of the penalty area, unleashed a shot left-footed, but it was never going to trouble Aaron Ramsdale.
No, and that's those sort of areas there where when you see Palmer at the beginning of the season, he's so emphatic, he at least tests the goalkeeper. He hits that one wide.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing, wasn't it, from Cole Palmer. Maresca saying yesterday that everyone looks to him, relies on him for the solution. It's part of Chelsea's issues over the last 6 weeks that he has always seemed to be the only solution. They need to find other routes to goal as well. He's just sent them away down the right with Neto. Neto rifles the ball into the penalty area, but it's an aimless ball, which is cut out by Joe Aribo rather easily, and it rebounds out on the far side, 5 yards inside Southampton territory. It's still 0-0 here. Chelsea will be desperate to see the best of Cole Palmer again. Goalless since the 14th of Jan. The player that can't do everything on his own, that's for sure. He has directly contributed to 42% of Chelsea's league goals this season and 37% of their expected goals, and expected goals assisted as well. He is absolutely vital for them, but no other Chelsea player has scored or assisted 10 more goals. But here he is, being played in by Fernandes, gets one-on-one with Ramsdale. Ramsdale comes out and manages to make a really big save, 8 yards from goal. He was faced up with Cole Palmer, and Palmer looked certain to pop it beyond him, but out came Aaron Ramsdale, and he made himself huge and stopped Southampton from conceding.
He did. He was Schmeichel-like, wasn't he? When he used to sort of that star shape, spread himself, and he makes a fantastic save. Palmer takes his time on it, doesn't he? He doesn't rush it. So that's a wonderful save. Corner to Chelsea.
Corner to Chelsea, far side. Palmer's influence certainly not waning here. He's been involved in the thick of the action, even if he hasn't finished anything off yet. We've played 22 and a half. Ball in towards the near post. Tosin flicks it on. Nkunku at the far post. Dives in, nods it beyond a stranded Ramsdale. Gets there ahead of Smallbone. And from that set piece, well choreographed, Chelsea take the lead. Ball in towards the near post. Tosin Adebayo rose the highest. And Nkunku diving in at the far post managed to just about nudge it over the line. It's 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, Nkunku has hardly touched the ball. Maybe he's had about 3 touches of it. But that's where you want that predator in that central position. Really good movement there. I think it's Smallbone, isn't it, that he gets away from. Poor defending back post. Flicked on at the near post. And then Nkunku comes flying in with his head. And look what it means to him, by the way. Big celebration from him. Well, looking at the replay there, look, it just flicked on. I think he's just about onside. We can have another look at it from this other angle.
Well, he's been underwhelming, hasn't he? I mean, he's scored only one in his last 12 matches, and that was against Morecambe. So to get on the score sheet again tonight, he'll be absolutely delighted by that. And that's the 4th time this season that they have scored a goal similar to that, a second phase set piece. It's their 9th Premier League goal from a set piece this season. So they have started to get better at delivering those into the box, Martin. Big part of the game now, as you know.
For sure. I mean, it used to be, didn't it, back in the day? It was your Wimbledons and your Boltons, and everybody sort of decried set pieces, but now it's the best teams that are also the best with set plays.
Southampton have found that quite a sickening blow, I think, after what was a promising start to the game from them. Here is Neto on the far right-hand side for Chelsea, played in by Enzo Fernandez after a combination with Palmer in the centre circle. He just slows it down, waits, and there's a little bit of frustration from the Chelsea supporters that he did slow it down, runs at Carl Walker-Peters, then uses Malagusto as a decoy, then twists his way towards the edge of the box, comes centrally to Cucurella, and then wide on the left is Nkunku. And Nkunku now feeding it into Cucurella, back into Enzo Fernandez, and then it's across the middle into Palmer. Southampton with lots of men behind the ball, but chasing shadows at the moment as Chelsea look to try and move the ball a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper, and try desperately to capitalise on this lead. Immediately as Palmer gets the ball, he's surrounded by 2 yellow jerseys. Caicedo again takes over, nudges it back to halfway.
This is where Chelsea, and I think reminding myself of playing in a very good Arsenal team years ago, it's about popping that ball off 1 and 2 touch. Neto, 15 touches the last time he received the ball. Too many.
Well, there's a foul on Nkunku there, and there was, I think, probably a foul prior to that on Mark Cucurella, and him and Flynn Downs are now involved in an altercation and a highly charged discussion. Just watching the goal back, I just wonder whether or not, after making such a great save, Aaron Ramsdale came out a little bit too tight, too wide towards that near post as the ball came across to Nkunku from the corner kick.
You think he's too near to the near post?
Yeah.
Is he over and then he's got too much to make up?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be looking at the defender there, Smallbone, and be saying, well, hold on a minute. could you just mark right side there? You killed me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the first error, but there was a number of errors in the build-up to that goal for Chelsea. As they take another set-piece into the box, it goes towards Nkunku. It doesn't reach him this time. It goes out of play and away for a goal kick, so we can go off to Selhurst Park for another goal for Ollie Klink.
It's the equaliser. Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 1. Morgan Rogers with a wonderful spin and finish. It was a long ball from the keeper, flicked on by Ollie Watkins. Rogers still had so much to do, but he flicked the ball past the goalkeeper, and Villa are level. This is live on Talksport 2. 6 gone in the second half. Crystal Palace 1, Aston Villa 1.
Ollie, should we stay with you for a couple of minutes just in case they want to disallow that one as well?
Well, we might have to. No, it's just been given, Sam. We can go back to you, don't you worry.
It's the third time tonight that Aston Villa have had the ball in the net, and it's only the first time that it's counted. It's 1-1. Morgan Rogers
felt like deja vu, didn't it? Three times there.
Yeah. Here it's 1-0 to Chelsea. We've played 28 minutes. You're listening to Talksport, and Chelsea have gone in front, but that is no guarantee of victory. Chelsea have lost 3 Premier League games in which they've scored the first goal this season. It's the most in a campaign since 2015-16, while they last suffered more defeats from a 1-0 lead in the competition in 2009-2010. Although Southampton, well, they're so bad at dragging back points from losing positions. Usually once you've beat them once, you've done your job. But we shall see. It's 1-0 here. Sulemana skips away from the attentions of Caicedo, probably a little bit too easily, really. And then Walker-Peters again evades the challenge of Sancho. Fernandes has to come across, and the Argentine this time takes matters into his own hands, and in the right full-back position just brushes aside Walker-Peters, and Chelsea have the ball back again. But they've won it high up through Flynn Downs, then on to Walker-Peters, edge of the area, given away by him. But still, the pressure is on from Southampton, high up inside Chelsea territory. They commit a foul, maybe a little bit sloppily, and that just takes the pressure off the Chelsea backline, who still don't look remarkably settled, Martin.
No, but it's good pressure from Southampton. I'd like to see more, though, from the winger, Sulemana. He's not really doing enough. Whenever I've seen him previously, he's got really good pace. You know, when you're a young player, there's no time to lose in your career. Go and make things happen. I don't see any real joy in his play tonight. He's got tremendous pace, and he should be. I mean, Walker-Peters is running past him one direction and past him the other.
Jorgensen has the ball at his feet inside his own 18-yard box, and he was a little bit indecisive there. Eventually sends it long onto Neto. He manages to win the ball that time.
Yeah, he did well, Neto. He's trying to, isn't he, improvise in that new position.
Ball has been won back by Southampton, then won back by Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez, actually, who has got stuck in on a couple of occasions to prevent Southampton building up any sort of rhythm, and the ball is cleared out towards the near side.
He didn't have a picture, though, did he? When he gets the ball there, he should say to us, have a picture. When you get the ball, you always got to have a pass on. He gets it, he looks around him, they take it off him.
Well, half an hour played. Chelsea lead, but it hasn't been particularly great from Chelsea. A team that have struggled to see out games recently.
Neto just gone down again.
Now they've got a problem
signal
with Neto.
He's flagging really to the ref. Look, I'm getting too much physical attention here from the defender.
So do you think, I mean, that looks like just a whack in the chops from Bella Kotchap, and I wonder whether he's just alerting Thomas Bramall to that physical contact, as you say. I mean, you know what you central defenders are like. You try to do the sort of surreptitious one, don't you?
Well, yeah, but you know, it's a contact game, isn't it? And he plays in that central position, it's going to happen to him. But he's been moaning since the off, so that's the sort of treatment you get in that central area.
Well, look, Enzo Maresca and Simon Hooper is the fourth official now in deep conversation down in front of us. Cucurella goes up towards the assistant on the near side and is having a word with him about that as well. You're listening to Chelsea 1, Southampton 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget that you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract. Search now Sports. And Pedro Neto and Bella Kotchap just reacquainting themselves with one another. He's just dipped his shoulder and run short, and Jorgensen has almost given himself a serious problem there because he held on to the ball for too long. He didn't feel he had an option, and then as he tried to dip back inside and take on Onuachu, he almost passed the ball straight to Fernandes.
Jorgensen thinks he's playing in midfield. Does he not realise he's got 3 players all around him?
It was a little bit dicey from the Danish goalkeeper who was signed from Villarreal, made a huge mistake in that Aston Villa game. Has replaced Robert Sanchez recently as a Premier League goalkeeper after Sanchez was making too many mistakes. Chelsea have got 10 goalkeepers that are registered to the club.
It's not enough, is it?
Most of them are out on loan. Here is Sulemana with a cross from the byline in towards Onuachu, and it's Jurgensen who has sprung to his left there and shown why he's in the team with a brilliant stop high up towards his left. Decent cross from Sulemana, the header from Onuachu, and Jurgensen with a brilliant cat-like reaction to pull the ball out of the sky and away from danger.
Acrobat, almost. Unorthodox the way he saves it as well. Really good save, but good move from Southampton. Too easy though from the cross to get his header away there.
Here is Bree, another floated delivery, and he's come out this time as the goalkeeper, and he's not really done particularly well. He's got a little touch on it which would have taken it for a corner had Onuachu had not already strayed into a offside position. It's a free kick to Chelsea away to our right. So 33 minutes gone, and we've seen a few sides of Philip Jurgensen there. First of all, getting Chelsea into trouble with his kick out and the pressure on him when he was trying to play out from the back. Then the magnificent save, and then the unconvincing come for the cross.
For sure, and you thought that save would have helped his confidence a little bit, but it's just they just can't get out here.
Well, that's credit to Southampton and the way that they have applied the game. But if we knew that they were going to come here and play an aggressive man-to-man formation, then Enzo Maresca would have known it too.
Well, he's persevering, and he's played a really good ball into Neto.
And it's played over the top now for Neto, who's got support from Nkunku on the left-hand side. Gets to the edge of the penalty area, cuts infield, needs more support infield because there's loads of yellow bodies that have just crowded around that penalty spot, which has made it impossible to go through the centre. They've had to go out wide, but there wasn't many in an advanced position up helping him in that area of the field, so they had to go to the other side, and Chelsea now building on the right with Sancho taking on Kyle Walker-Peters. He's got alongside him Malagusto. Just infield he's got Palmer, but Cucurella has come across from left back and then laid it off to Sancho, down to Palmer inside the box, got away from the defender, plays it to the far post. Fernandes has got to touch that home, surely he's missed it. And what an opportunity for Chelsea to go 2-0 up after 34 minutes. A lovely move involving Cucurella and Malagusto and Cole Palmer, and should have been involving Enzo Fernandez.
Absolutely right. Flowing football from Chelsea at their best, and then Palmer just sends it to the back post, and somehow it evades Fernandez, who's charging in, getting in the box. That's what he's got to do. You're right though about Southampton, press really high and then they just retreat to the edge of their own box and they just flood back. It's difficult for Chelsea because they're quite gallant here, Southampton, playing for the shirt.
Well, it's currently Chelsea 1, Southampton 0. The latest odds are available at Ladbrokes, but right now you can get Chelsea to win the game at 14-1 on. And they can get Southampton to win the game at 25-1. The draw is 9-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+. BigGambleAware.org. Another goal at Crystal Palace. Ollie Klink.
And Palace back in front. Crystal Palace 2, Aston Villa 1. It's Jean-Philippe Mateta. 8 goals in 8 Premier League games coming into this game. He's just got another as well. The ball was fed in to Eze inside the box. He flicked it on for Mateta, rushing onto it, and he's fired it home with his left foot. Palace back in front. It's live on Talksport 2. Crystal Palace 2, Aston Villa 1.
Well, they've conversely a bit opposite to Chelsea, really. Who've had a dip over the midwinter. Palace have had a really good run, haven't they?
Done really well. I think the striker as well, Mateta, has started scoring goals, and that's really been. I mean, he finished the season brilliantly last year.
Isn't it funny how strikers play so well under certain managers? Chris Wood under Nuno Espirito Santo, and this guy under Oliver Glasner. I remember Mateta's almost sort of blossomed in a completely different player.
Well, it's interesting now the amount of times he hit the woodwork. It was some sort of record, wasn't it, under Patrick Vieira? As soon as they make the change, then he can't stop scoring. He lost that form for a bit, but he's got it back now. He's a handful.
He is, absolutely, and he scores some brilliant goals. And there was actually could have scored another one at the weekend. That wonderful anticipation for the back heel from Eze. Here is Nkunku, played in by Cucurella after a mistake by Flynn Downs. He's given the ball away, and now Neto has been played down the inside left position, and he smashed it in at the near post, and Southampton have made another error which has led to a goal, and Neto has ruthlessly punished them. Southampton have been the architects of their downfall all season. They've committed now 19 errors leading to goals. which is 7 more than any side in the Premier League, and if you do that, you've got absolutely no chance. Ball given away by Downs inside his own half. It went straight to Nkunku, who turned it to the left channel, picked up by Neto, who charged into the box, rifled it beyond Ramsdale, and I'm afraid that was a goal all of Southampton's own making. Chelsea 2, Southampton 0.
Great movement from Neto, you have to say, peeling off from that central position, running around the winger Nkunku, and he just waits, doesn't he, Nkunku, a little bit, lovely weighted pass, just begging to be hit, and he just takes his time, he's composed, and he finds the pace on that ball, and he hits it on that inside post. Really, manager delighted with that 2-0 up, Chelsea looking comfortable.
Well, they are now, but again, you've got to say Southampton cannot do that. They mustn't give the ball away in those sort of areas. Chelsea were waiting for that to happen. You've said it already tonight. Chelsea looked at their best when Southampton gave the ball away inside their own half. And Chelsea have capitalised on that error. They lead by 2-0, and Southampton have got absolutely no chance of coming back. Let's go off to the game at Brighton. Another goal for Talksport, Ian Abrahams.
Brighton 1, Bournemouth 1. This is a heck of an equaliser from Justin Kluivert. Well, ball won on halfway by Bournemouth. Fed out to Kirk's left-hand side. He passed it out to Kluivert on the touchline and basically ran up towards the edge of the penalty area, cutting on his right foot, and he's curled a peach of a goal into the far corner. Brighton 1, Bournemouth 1.
Yeah, back here it's 2-0 to Chelsea. That game, by the way, available on the Talksport app. Just download our app from the Google Play or the Apple App Store, and you can get a world of entertainment. You can get the Talk Radio app, that's available for you as well, and you can listen to all of our matches this weekend on Talksport, Talksport 2, Talk Radio, and you'll be able to get them on the app as well. Just download it, and it is all there available for you. Tuesday night, Wednesday night and Thursday night, all the Premier League games are available. There's a goal in the Championship at Stoke. Jeff Peters.
And Middlesbrough are back in front here again. They lead Stoke 2-1. Finn Azaz, really good finish. Left-footed, low, arrowed into the far corner. It's Stoke 1, Borough 2.
Just in a replay of the goal from Southampton, and Flynn Downs just attempting a pass that was never on, playing the ball forward to the halfway line, giving it away, and Chelsea within seconds were putting the ball in the back of the net, and they've given it away again here to Caicedo, who's turned it into the path of Sancho. Sancho has raced away down the right side of the box. He's got to the edge of the penalty area. He plays it towards Enzo Fernandez, but it's short. It's cut out by Matheus Fernandez, and he takes it out towards the far side, and it's cleared away by Southampton, who trail here by 2-0. Martin Keown.
It's interesting, Southampton, Fernandez is looking actually quite decent. I'm not sure he's playing in the right position, just giving it away there. And that's been the problem for Southampton, as you say, going into this game. I think I counted 18 unforced errors that led to goals that they've conceded. And the same thing happened tonight.
Absolutely. Here is Sulemana down the left-hand side, trying to chop his way back into the penalty area. It's a deep cross to Onuachu. And it's a far cry now, isn't it, from this team, this side that started the match and looked as if they were creating more chances, better chances than Chelsea. And now the body language looks like slumped shoulders, disappointment, disgruntlement, and the quality of the balls into the box have decreased as well.
An example there, Sulemani there, that ball is just too ambitious. He's belted that across the box. He's beat his opponent and just make the right decisions. By the way, it's another goal kick to Chelsea, so we could be here for another 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, they'll say that actually it's worked out for them.
They've worked
tonight.
it out now, because it goes, as soon as they go into Neto, he's offside.
But they've worked it out now. They lead by 2-0. I mean, it was a set-piece goal, and it was a mistake by Southampton that led to those 2 goals. So, that sort of doesn't suggest that they'd been tactically astute in any way.
Of course. And they've tried to keep going, though, haven't they, Chelsea, in terms of, it's not quite right. They've changed the goalkeepers. You say 9 goalkeepers. This one's currently auditioning for the place.
It's just that they shouldn't really be under the cosh as much as they are without being able to find a way out against a team that are bottom of the table and have only got 9 points, Martin. You would expect Chelsea, who have been threatening to challenge the Champions League places, to have a variation of play, a slightly different idea when things aren't going right, to know exactly what to do. There's been a goal at Cardiff, Lawrence Morrow.
Yes, Cardiff 1, Hull 0. Callum Robinson with a volley from 12 yards out. The ball nestling in the corner of the net. What a huge goal that could be at the bottom of the Championship. Cardiff 1, Hull 0.
What this will do back here, though, is give Chelsea the opportunity to enjoy their football and maybe gain a little bit of confidence. They play it up to Cole Palmer now. Cole Palmer plays it on to Nkunku, then into Neto. Again, Southampton very good at funneling players back into position here. And, it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you look at Southampton, they've been so poor. I mean, they won their last game on the road, but they've failed to win the previous 19 away in the Premier League. You just think they're obviously already preparing for life in the Championship. Is Juric convincing them that this high-pressing game where they go man for man all over the pitch is the way that they're going to get out of the Championship next season?
Well, it's a difficult way because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And that's been a problem tonight. And I think Chelsea now are revelling in this, trying to play straight passes through that middle of the team. Sancho now playing centrally.
Here is Neto, now wide on the left-hand side, getting towards the penalty area. He sends it right-footed high over the top of everybody inside the box. It floats out the far side and it comes out to Malagusto, who is occupying the right wing position at the moment. Sancho's dropped deep. Caicedo back to halfway. Collected by Tosin Adarabioyo, then Colwell thrusts it in towards Nkunku. Felt he was getting contact from behind from Armel Bella Kotchap. And it's going to be a free kick 15 yards short of the penalty area.
I don't think there can be any arguments over that foul. Bella Kotchap.
Yeah, free kick to Chelsea as a result, which is going to be taken either by Fernandez or Neto.
It's gone flat for Southampton, hasn't it? You just feel their sense, that losing feeling. You know, you're looking at your points total. Derby County, I think after 26 games, the only team who've got a similar amount, 9 points. You don't feel like you belong at this level when you look at the league table.
Well, the issue is that system as well is all fine and dandy if you're winning games or you're getting something out of it, but as soon as you realise it hasn't worked or it's broken down, it can cause you confidence issues. The ball goes towards the back post. Colwell jumps on top of it and heads it home for 3-0. Floated in by Neto, took the Southampton defence by surprise. There was none of that commitment, none of that intensity that they showed at the beginning of the game to get hold of Levi Colwell, who steamed in from the edge of the box and headed the ball firmly past Ramsdale. It's 3-0 Chelsea.
Well, we said it had gone flat, but that doesn't mean you don't pick up in the box. Ball in. I mean, it's really good quality on the ball, but it's just, he should be dealt with, and it just floats over the top of heads there, and Colwell wants it more than anybody else. He's scoring inside the 6-yard line. You wonder there, maybe could the keeper even come for it? I mean, it's a teasing ball, but look where it ends up. I think Ramsdale starts to come and then goes back. That is really a shocking goal there. It's about marking in the box. You do your job, and you see that one out. 3-0.
Well, 3-0, and we played less than 45 minutes. We're just about to get an indication of the amount of stoppage time that we've got here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea celebrating a third goal. This is exactly what Enzo Maresca needed after the protest before the game. A bit of disgruntlement. Remember, Chelsea came into the match 2 wins in 10 Premier League matches. They're 3-0 up at half-time. And there's a little bit more of an expected mood. And remember, this game started with frustration amongst the Chelsea supporters because they looked devoid of idea. But Southampton have been the contributors to Chelsea's success in this game, not marking from the set piece, giving the ball away for the second goal, and then marking from the first set piece, which Chelsea got the scoring off and running from with Christopher Nkunku.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just 2 set pieces and you give the ball away on the other occasion, so you know you're your own worst enemy. And you've got to, it's about minimising those mistakes, not be afraid to make them, but you have to keep them to an absolute minimum when you're playing at this level.
Well, unfortunately, with Southampton this season, they've been maximised. Here is Aribo, which again, he's given the ball away on the edge of his own penalty area, and it's gone to Neto, and inside the box is Jadon Sancho. He's cleared it. Oh, it's cleared off his toes by Aribo, who's funneling back to manage to clear the ball away. Kyle Walker-Peters was helping out too. He's collapsed in a heap inside the 6-yard box.
Well, he has, because, and actually, if you look disproportionately, the amount of work he's doing He's up and down. You can't point the finger at him, but he shouldn't have to come all that way back to clear that danger.
But Martin, what do you expect? You're playing a midfield player who's played half of his career as sort of like a number 10 as a third centre-half when you've got centre-halves Nathan Wood, centre-half Jack Stevens, Ryan Manning a left-back who can play as a sort of a third centre-half, Charlie Taylor who can do the same thing, all available from the bench. Harwood Bellis is an England international centre-half. Yeah. He's on the bench too. Why on earth are you playing Aribo in there?
Well, this is what it starts to feel like a lottery when you're in a team that's plummeting to the bottom of the table, and you kind of think, what's the manager going to come up with next? What's he going to dream up? Just looking there on a watcher. It's just played. The ball's been played into his feet. It's so clumsy, and then he sticks a foot out and nearly destroys his opponent there.
Yeah, he's been booked as a result of it as well. Paul Onuachu, who was only used sparingly under Russell Martin, had a loan spell at Trabzonspor last season. He cost 18 million quid from Genk when he signed 2 years ago, but he's not really ever made the impression that they were hoping for. Another goal at Crystal Palace. Here's Ollie Klink.
Yeah, 19 minutes to go. It's Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 1. Ismaila Sarr with his second of the game, and it's a lovely finish. Daniel Munoz was released down the right. He swung it across, and there was Sarr to volley it home into the far corner at the near post. And Palace are heading for all 3 points. This is live over on Talksport 2. 18 minutes to go. Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 1.
We'll check in with you just in case there's a VAR intervention there in the next few moments, but the half-time whistle's gone here. Enzo Maresca needed to put on a show to assuage the Chelsea support. They've started in the right manner, but boy have they had a helping hand. The goals have come from Nkunku, from Levi Colwell, and in between all of that, Pedro Neto after a mistake by Flynn Downs. And at half-time, it's Chelsea 3, Southampton 0.
Yeah, very strange situation as far as Chelsea are concerned. That first half, they look pretty clueless at times, and yet Southampton have almost literally rolled over for them. There was a point in the first half when Chelsea were 1-0 up, and the Southampton fans were singing, "How bad must you be? It's only 1-0. About 5 minutes later, it was 3-0, and it's pretty much game over, because even though Southampton, to a certain extent, Martin Kieran, have been quite game in that first half, they have had attacks. They've forced at least one save from the Chelsea goalkeeper. Chelsea, without being brilliant, are in total control of this game, aren't they?
Well, we just had this bit of drama, didn't we, with the Chelsea goalkeeper Jurgensen trying to develop play. We were trying to describe it like a ladder, and they couldn't get their first foot on the rung of the ladder, and they were pressing really high, all man for man. But as soon as it went into Neto, and everybody then, the ball was behind everybody that was pressing, it was real problematic then for Southampton. They gave away silly free kicks, 2 set pieces they concede from, and then the third goal there, the second one in between the 3 goals they conceded, they give the ball away needlessly, and they're doing that so many times this season. That's 19 goals now from errors of their own making. And it's to simplify your game and stop making mistakes. As simple as that. Otherwise, you don't live, you don't survive. You can't play at this level, and you return back down to the Championship, and it's going to happen. We know for certain it's going to happen. It's now become a little bit embarrassing with the number of points they had. They don't look like they can live at this level.
That's a great phrase, what you've just said. It's absolutely true as well. They certainly can't live with Chelsea in that first 45, 3-down goal at the Amex in the Premier League. Ian Abrahams.
Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1. Southampton can't live with Chelsea. Not many Premier League defences have been able to live this season with Danny Welbeck, and the old man's scored again, this time inside the penalty area. He trickled it past the goalkeeper Kepa. It apologetically kissed the far post, as it drizzled into the back of the net. Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1. It's live on the Talksport app. Danny Welbeck has another Premier League goal this season.
I wonder if he's catching Thomas Tuchel's eye. We shall see. The Kluivert goal, by the way, was an absolute screamer. But Bournemouth trail 2-1 at Brighton. Elsewhere, Palace 3, Villa 1, Wolves 1, Fulham 2, and here at half-time, Chelsea 3, Southampton 0. And Southampton, Martin, are a little bit of a mess, aren't they? They've got square pegs in round holes. They've got midfielders in defence and defenders on the bench. They've got Carl Walker-Peters actually doing some great things down one flank, but the guy who's supposed to be helping him out on that flank, as you pointed out in commentary, not really doing too much. It's a mishmash, and it's a mess from Southampton, isn't it?
Yeah, Suleimano doing nothing on that left-hand side. He's such a promising player, but his career's not really happening. Walker-Peters almost doing too much down the left-hand side, as the senior player, and you're right, it doesn't look okay. You go man for man all over the pitch, but it just seems to me that they've, it's kind of like when they're in possession of the ball, don't really believe in what they're trying to do. They're giving the ball away stupidly. And then when I look at a team, set pieces wise, and that tells me a lot about what's happening on the training ground, because there's only so many minutes between each game. And what are we going to specialise on? What we do with the ball and what we do without it. Set pieces is really important, and the basics fall away. Who are the players on the pitch you can turn to? I know it's been a lot of personnel change, but it doesn't look as if the core group understand what they've been asked to do for set plays. Little flick on at the near post, that's schoolboy stuff. You shouldn't be allowing somebody to get in front. It certainly wouldn't have happened on my watch when I played. The players on the pitch don't seem to be educated enough to do what they need to, so the basics aren't there, and they just keep losing matches.
I do. Are we learning much about Chelsea here? Could this actually give them confidence as well?
Well, interesting that the manager's tried to find a solution. He's played Neto down the middle, which is interesting. Sancho on the right, right-footed player. We like inverted players, but he's gone to the right-hand side. Palmer plays over there, and you get that little triangle that's forming. And then Nkunku is playing on the left-hand side. It's not really a part of the play, really, the first 10 minutes, then he gets that goal. And I think that could launch him now. You've got to be believing that. If you're a Chelsea fan, you're part of the team. Right, okay, can he build off of this? Can it be the making of him? We've waited a long time for this, but they need his goals desperately if they're going to finish in the top 4. And they've just edged into that place now above Man City, who, of course, who don't play tonight. But Chelsea, they strike the first blow.
They do. Chelsea lead by 3-0, and it might just be about how many they get in the second half and whether this gives them confidence going forward after what has been a lean spell for Enzo Maresca and his players. Let me tell you what's happening elsewhere. Premier League, Brighton 2-1 up on Bournemouth, Palace 3-1 up on Villa, Wolves 1, Fulham 2 in here, Chelsea 3, Southampton 0 at half-time. Those other 3 Premier League games are deep into the second half now. Championship, Cardiff 1, Hull 0, Stoke 1, Middlesbrough 2. In League 1, Birmingham have just taken the lead against Leyton Orient, who are down to 10 men. Taylor Gardner-Hickman with a goal. Northampton 0, Barnsley 2, both for Davis Keeler done. Wigan 2, Huddersfield 1. In League 2, Bromley 0, Bradford 0, Cheltenham 0, the leaders, Walsall 1, Gillingham 1, Fleetwood 2, and the battle at the bottom, Tranmere 0, Accrington 0. And in the National League, Aldershot 3-0 up against Solihull Moors. Eastleigh Gateshead's goalless. Promotion chasing York 1 up at Maidenhead, Ollie Pearce again. Tamworth 1, Rochdale 0, and Wealdstone game against Boston was postponed. In the Scottish Premiership, Celtic 3, Aberdeen 0. Maeda, Jota and McGregor with the goals. And in the Championship, goalless at Airdrie, goalless at Hamilton, Livingston 3, Morton 1. And a big result in the Women's Nations League. Northern Ireland beat Bosnia 3-2. Simone McGill, the Birmingham City player, the veteran at 30, can I say that? I don't know if that's being rude, but injury time winner in Larne for her. 2 goals for her tonight. What a big win that is for Northern Ireland. But in the Premier League live on Talksport at half-time, Chelsea 3, Southampton 0.
Kick off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Want a day off deciding what to eat? Sit back, relax, and let us do the thinking for you. And the cooking, and the cleaning. From salmon fillet Mondays to fish and chips Fridays. IKEA family members can try a different £3 dish of the day every weekday in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Find out more at ikea.co.uk.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League 2, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
At Screwfix, we've locked the prices on everyday fan essentials. Like WD-40 at £6.98, a 100-pack of Easy Fix wall plugs at 94p, and a 200-pack of Gold Screw multi-purpose screws at £2.69. We've got your back with prices you can rely on the products you use the most. In stock and ready to go, saving you the hassle of shopping around. Order on the app and collect in-store today. Prices valid until at least 6th of April. Visit screwfix.com for T's and C's. Delivery charges and restrictions apply.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in and drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
The new £5 meal deal from McDonald's. Get a cheeseburger or mayo chicken, medium fries, 4 McNuggets and a medium soft drink for guess what? That's right, £5. It's not called the £5 meal deal for nothing. From 11 a.m. Not available on delivery. Carbonated soft drink upgrade fees apply. Participating restaurants subject to availability.
At Betfair, we're about finding different ways to play. Like with our 90-minute guarantee. We've all been there. The clock ticks over into 90 minutes, and then a speculative cross into the box ricochets off a knee and goes in, ruining your bet. But with Betfair's 90-minute guarantee, if your bet is winning at 90 minutes or full time, we pay out. Betfair. Play different.
Applies to match odds 90 market or markets with the 90 icon. Sportsbook exclusive. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Kick off on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Wednesday night, the Premier League live.
He's gone straight in! Spurs versus Manchester City.
On Talksport 2.
Right on the line! Brentford versus Everton.
On the Talksport app. Both games kick off 7:30.
They are back in front! Bad Fed Football.
On Talksport 2 and the Talksport app.
No further goals to tell you about Premier League. Brighton 2-1 up, Crystal Palace 3-1 up, Fulham lead 2-1 at Wolves, and here at half-time at Chelsea, it's 3-0 against Southampton, who've been really bad. Big shout for Wales women, who've drawn 1 apiece with Sweden tonight in the Nations League. Sweden ranked 5th in the world, but at Wrexham tonight, Wales have got a draw. Kayleigh Barton of Charlton with the Welsh goal, and of course in England's group are the Women's Euros in Switzerland this summer, and Talksport will be there. It's finished Wales 1, Sweden 1. Big draw, good draw for Wales. 3-0 to Chelsea here in the Premier League at half-time, and let's get half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5+ acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18+. GambleAware.org.
So Chelsea 3, Southampton 0. Jadon Sancho to score any time is 9-2. Cole Palmer to score next is 4-1. Paul Onuachu to score next 11-1. And in case you're wondering, the draw 66-1. A Southampton win from 3 down 150-1. Have Chelsea been that good? Probably. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. GambleAware.org.
All right, let's get a championship goal at Stoke. Jeff Peters.
It's Stoke 1, Middlesbrough 3. Middlesbrough have lost 5 in a row. Looks like they're heading for 3 points. Tommy Conway, who missed from 2 yards, an open goal in the first half. He's just played a 1-2 with Finn Azaz and swept it beyond the goalkeeper. Azaz got the second after Bae John Ho cancelled out Marcus Force's early goal. It's Conway in front of goal, calm, and he's given Middlesbrough an extension to their lead, 3-1 up against Stoke.
And let's go round the grounds in the Premier League. 7:30 kick-offs these, so we're heading up to full-time at Selhurst Park with Talksport's Ollie Klink.
5 minutes to go. It's Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 1. Villa are trying to respond. We've just seen Marcus Rashford take the ball round the keeper, but he was far too wide and the angle was far too tight for him to finish the chance off. Palace have been absolutely superb, though, in this second half. They look so threatening on the counter-attack. Adam Wharton has just come off. He was excellent in the middle of the park in front of Thomas Tuchel, who is here tonight. And at Selhurst Park, where Palace haven't had much success this season, it's been rocking in here. here. The closing stages are live on Talksport 2. It's Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 1.
So good to see Adam Wharton back and playing and fit and possibly catching the eye of Thomas Tuchel at Selhurst Park tonight. Let's get to Molyneux latest there, Adam Bridge.
The last 90 seconds here, Wolves 1, Fulham 2, and as much of Wolves have huffed and puffed, they've been unable to blow this Fulham defence down this evening in this second half. Cunha at the heart of most things, but actually it's the other end. Fulham have come closer to adding a third goal in this game. Jimenez was played through by a lovely ball from Robinson, charged into the penalty area down the left-hand side, but his shot was saved by Sarr. A moment ago, Pereira almost finished the game off, but Tommy Doyle was in the right place to just about affect the block and put it behind for a corner. We're going to head into 6 added minutes here, and it's Wolves 1, Fulham 2.
And late stages at the Amex. What's happening in Abrahams?
3 to play. Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1. Karen Matoma has the ball at the moment, but Brighton have the lead thanks to Danny Welbeck's goal in the second half after an absolute glorious equaliser from Justin Cliver to cancel out João Pedro's penalty. Bournemouth have been on top in the second period, but need to find a goal and quickly. The rest of the games on the Talksport app is Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1.
We just told you Middlesbrough 3-1 up at Stoke. Michael Carrick can do it on a chilly February night in Stoke. What's happening at the Cardiff City Stadium, Lawrence Mora?
Remains Cardiff 1, Hull 0. Callum Robinson's volley on 52 minutes. It took a big deflection as well, but it flew past Ivan Pandor in the visitors' goal into the back of the net. Robinson's 12th goal of the season. That makes it and equals his best ever goal-scoring season. Hull have dominated possession. They've just thrown on a triple substitution of Alzaz, Kamara and Pedro as they look for a crucial equaliser. But as things stand, the home team are moving 6 points clear of the relegation places. We are into the last 20. It's Cardiff 1, Hull 0.
Well, back to the Premier League. Chelsea 3, Southampton 0. We're all set for the second half, live and exclusive and only on Talksport in the Premier League. Chelsea heading 4th in the table. Here's Martin Keown and Sam Matchface.
Southampton have made a change. They've taken off James Bree and brought on Taylor Harwood-Bellis at the heart of the defence. They've still got a 3-man defence which includes a midfield player in it, despite the fact that they did have defenders on the bench. Apparently Ivan Juric is happy with the fact that Joe Aribo is playing as one of the back three tonight. They are 3-0 down. Chelsea shooting from left to right at the start of the second half. Blue shirts, blue shorts and white socks. And it's a yellow jersey for Southampton and navy shorts and yellow socks attacking the goal away to our left. And Chelsea will hope in the second half, Martin, to build a little bit of confidence. I'll run through the 2-11s for you in just a second. But is that their aim, just to try and up their confidence level, score a few more goals?
Yeah, without doubt. If goals are going to come into this, trying to get into that top 4, top 5, they're building it nicely again. I expect them to score a few more goals in this second half. Totally dominant here at the start of the second half.
Yep, a little bit higher up they're playing. They're inside the Southampton half of the field. They've got Jorgensen in goal, Gusto, Tosin, Colwill and Cucurella as the back four. Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, Palmer in the 10, and Nkunku's playing wide on the left, Sancho wide on the right, and Neto through the centre. It's like a false 9 really, sometimes playing upright against Bella Kotchap in the first half, and then at other times dropping deep into midfield and looking to try and make things happen. There's a bit of fluidity about that Chelsea front line, with sometimes when Neto will drop into a wide right position and Sancho will go in the middle, similarly with Nkunku on the other side. Southampton have got Aaron Ramsdale in goal, Harwood-Bellis now on at right centre half with Bella Kotchap and Joe Aribo, Walker-Peters playing on the left-hand side, Sugawara on the right, Downs and Smallbone in the centre, Fernandez and Sulemana supporting Onuachu in attack. Southampton's record against Chelsea, for a team that usually is struggling at the bottom end of the division, it's quirkily good. They got a point here in 2019. They won here in Boxing Day of that year, a point in 2020. Took Chelsea to penalties in the Carabao Cup in 2021. Beat them twice in 2022-23. But they have gifted Chelsea goals in that first half and have put themselves in a position where they are very unlikely to trouble the scoreboard too often in the second half.
I think it's a good opportunity for Chelsea, though, with the change in personnel, 2 players that are out, of course. Madueke out, injured, along with Jackson. So just a new look. Maybe get Neto to... I mean, it's quite fluid in the way that they're moving around. Palmer, of course, that central player. This time Sancho out on this right-hand side. It started off Sancho down the middle and then Neto on the right, but it's gone back to what we saw in the first half. The manager's probably just said, guys, just go and enjoy yourselves.
Here's Nkunku picking the ball up on the edge of the penalty area, tries to play it down the left, and Neto across the steps. Harwood Bellis intervenes for Southampton and manages to get it clear. Matheus Fernandes takes it up on the halfway line. There's space out wide on the right. They play it left instead to Sulemana. Across comes Gusto. He gets round him, Sulemana. Goes into the penalty area. Tackle on him and sends the ball out for a corner. And the Southampton fans with a ripple of applause for the effort that Sulemana has shown there.
Did well, Sulemana. Gusto there took a real risk. I think he thought he was embarrassed a little bit there with the pace. And he cuts across him. Out for a corner, just gets a toe on it.
Yeah, it was a dicey tackle. If he had misjudged that, Martin, it would have been a penalty.
Well, sometimes you have that gut feeling you're going to get there, but you don't know for certain. That was close.
Here is the corner, away to our left-hand side, taken by Smallbone. Chelsea have got to be a little bit careful. Would love not to concede here. Smallbone in towards the centre, headed away by Tosin Adarabioyo. Comes out on this near touch line. And now it's collected by Walker-Peters, who continues the attack with Smallbone down the left. He gets to the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, decent delivery. But Onuachu, it stayed in, and I think he was onside there because Chelsea were napping a little bit, but he just didn't manage to follow it in. It goes behind and away for a goal kick, and there's been another goal at Selhurst Park this afternoon. Martin and I were watching the first half of that game, and Martin said to me, well, we chose the wrong game to watch here because it's 0-0. It certainly hasn't been 0-0 for much of the second half. Here's Ollie Klink with the goal pig.
And it's Crystal Palace 4, Aston Villa 1. This is a rout. Eddie Nketiah with his first Premier League goal for Palace. It was worked out to the left to Mitchell, who drilled it across, and Nketiah couldn't miss from close range. Villa getting thumped, Palace absolutely flying. The closing stages are live on Talksport 2. It's Crystal Palace 4, Aston Villa 1.
It's a good afternoon at Palace, isn't it?
It feels like we've been here all evening. So we started watching it.
It might be afternoon in your life.
We started watching it in the afternoon.
It's late evening for me.
Yeah, I know, but you're an older gentleman. You go to bed early. Here is Palmer, edge of the area, trying to get beyond Smallbone. Gets down the left channel, produces a cross. It's blocked by Harwood Bellis and goes out for a corner. Did you have your nap today, by the way?
Harwood Bellis is going absolutely berserk there with his midfield, losing the ball again.
Another cross into the box towards Nkunku. His header is tipped over the top by Ramsdale. The cross came in. The corner was taken really quickly there by Enzo Fernandez. Into Palmer, back to Fernandez, and he whipped the ball in towards Nkunku, and it was tipped over the top after the header from the Frenchman. It's another corner to Chelsea.
Spare a thought as well for Aaron Ramsdale coming to Southampton from Arsenal. Of course, he wants to play every week, but most of his activity is taking the ball out of the back of the net.
Well, they call him Rambo on the dressing room and on the training ground. And at times he looks like he needs to be a one-man army to prevent Southampton conceding even more goals. Here is the corner from the far side, taken by Neto. Neto's going to deliver it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, away by Aribo, back in by Palmer, chested down by Cucurella, but that was handball. And it's going to be a free kick. Tomorrow, by the way, lots of games for you. You can get your Talksport app. I know you'll be out walking your dogs around about this time before you go to bed.
My son's dog, maybe.
Yeah. Manchester United against Ipswich is on the Talksport app. Brentford against Everton is there too. Forest Arsenal's on Talksport. When that's done, Talksport pick up commentary of Liverpool against Newcastle, and Spurs against Manchester City is on Talksport 2 tomorrow. The whole of Liverpool Newcastle is live on Talk, by the way. That's tomorrow night for you on the Talksport network. Here is Cole Palmer on halfway, floating it out towards the far side. Well, it's not going to reach Enzo Fernandez. It's going to go out of play, and it's away for a throw-in.
No, a bit way off there, wasn't it? A bit like the comment, where was I going to be tomorrow night? I'm actually going to be at the Forest game.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
That's Forest Arsenal, isn't it? Arsenal still got hopes.
Second versus third
of the title.
Huge game, by the way.
Yeah,
for both teams.
Nottingham Forest have had a bit of a wobble themselves, haven't they? Here is Colwell deep inside his own half. Let's go off to Molineux, and it's a full time for Talksport's Adam Bridge.
It is Wolves 1, Fulham 2. A first win here for Fulham in 40 years. Sessegnon after 63 seconds, cancelled out by Gomez midway through the first half, but Muniz with a lightning start to the second half and a delicate finish has given Marco Silva his first victory ever over Vitor Pereira. Full time at Molineux. Wolves 1, Fulham 2.
Chelsea trying to construct an attack back here at Stamford Bridge. 53 minutes on the clock. 3-0 to Chelsea. Here is Nkunku trying to work some space for the shot. He does shoot. It's way over the top of the crossbar. He was 25 yards from goal when he tried to do that, but Southampton had got men behind the ball and he decided to go for glory, went over the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick.
Decision making again, isn't it? As confident as you are, not sure that was on.
Well, Southampton are capable of capitulating. They have lost 5 league matches before tonight by 3 or more goals. That's now 6 across the season. I mean, if you're conceding that many goals on a regular basis, that is a serious issue. I mean, you can't expect to stay in the division if you don't keep teams out, even occasionally. They don't ever keep a clean sheet, just 2 in the league all season. But the sheer number of goals they've conceded is just way too many to even think about even competing, and they haven't really for most of the season competed, that is. Here is Gusto down the right onto Sancho. Sancho now putting Walker-Peters on the back foot, gets into a crossing position, then declines to do so, sets it back for Neto, who's on the right angle of the Southampton penalty area as Chelsea continue to build. There's a bit of a contretemps between Sulemana and Neto, but Palmer has got away, tried to get the shot in, took a deflection, and it bounced into the arms of Ramsey. Let's go down to Selhurst Park where it's full-time for Ollie Klink.
It's finished. Crystal Palace 4, Aston Villa 1. Goals from Mateta, Nketiah and 2 for Ismaila Sarr, sealing a thumping win for Palace here. Rodgers replied for Villa, but it wasn't enough. It's a real blow for their Champions League hopes. They slip to 10th. Palace earn back-to-back wins and move above Spurs into 12th. It's finished at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 4, Aston Villa 1.
Full-time down at the Amex, Ian Abrahams.
Bournemouth won João Pedro's first half penalty and a winning goal 14 minutes from the end for Danny Welbeck. Goal of the game though, Justin Kluivert with a brilliant, stunning strike from the edge of the box. Bournemouth lose again. Brighton a point off the top 5. Finished here, Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1.
Oh, that's a great result for Fabian Herzler. Only a couple of weeks ago they were in a situation where they were
7-0
smashed up by Nottingham Forest. Here is Neto easing his way past Bella Kotchap down the right side in for Sancho. Sancho looking up, trying to tease the ball to the far post. It's away by Harwood Bellis and flicked it. Well, it didn't get it behind. It actually ran out towards the far corner stick and he's been retrieved by Nkunku, who gets it back towards the left edge of the box, and Chelsea are trying to unpick this tight defence again. It's Neto into Sancho, good close control, now into Palmer, immediately engaged from behind by Bella Kotchap, and then it's cleared upfield, and Chelsea again just engaging a little bit higher up the half and winning the ball back further up the pitch. Have it once again.
Sancho, been impressed with him tonight. Good movement off the ball. You see him never stops moving when he's got the ball. Some nice touches, linking up well with Palmer. I mean, there's a lot of talent out there when they can click, Chelsea.
Nkunku into Sancho, back to Nkunku from Sancho, but it was too easy for him to get it. He moves into the box, plays it to Palmer, who on the half volley blasts the ball over the top of the crossbar. Chances like that would usually nestle in the back of the net, but they're trying to create something for him, you feel, to get him away from that barren spell. It's been 6 games since he last scored. Enzo Maresca saying he's not concerned by his form, but I think he will be. He'll want to get that off his back.
I think the important thing there was the contribution of Nkunku there, coming down the wing there. Sancho, lovely little ball, feathered little pass back to him, and then it was crossed into the box, and it's lifted, isn't it? It's bouncing in front of Palmer, and he puts it over. He'll get better at that, of course he will. But the other two are starting to make a bigger contribution for Chelsea, and that's part of the solution that they now need to find.
The problem is, Martin, is that the Chelsea critics will certainly say you cannot judge Chelsea by this performance against a Southampton team that capitulate on a regular basis.
No, absolutely, but if there could be a practice match with the fans in tow and everybody else here, recreate a situation, it's an ideal place, isn't it, to play at home against Southampton, bottom of the table, to start getting back into some sort of rhythm. Walker-Peters on the ground, by the way.
Yeah, he's getting some attention, which is why we've got a delay here. 57 minutes into the game. Chelsea lead by 3-0. You're listening to Talksport with Sky Sports, and don't forget that you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Search Now Sports. I think there's going to be a change here as a result of that. It's worth pointing out, that Ivan Juric arrived in December. Arguably, Southampton have got worse, not better. The change of style, the aggressive style of management has not gone down well with players or fans. There's been fallings out behind the scenes. Maybe there needed to be, I don't know. Maybe that was something that he wanted to engender to see if he could get a reaction out of the team. But I was reading a Saints fans website the other day, and it gave its verdict on 4 key areas since he'd come back into St Mary's. Team selection, it said inconsistent, strange and puzzling. Verdict, poor. Substitutions, inconsistent, strange and puzzling. Verdict, poor. Leadership, frantic, uncontrolled, invisible, manic. Verdict, poor. Team building, dictatorial, inconsistent, uncontrolled, dismantling. Verdict, poor. And then the last thing of the little website comment at the bottom was, it's very hard to think of one positive contribution that the Croatian has made overall to the team since he took over.
Yeah, well, what he's just done is put Tyler Dibbling on, and that should have been something he did from the start, because we know what a great talent he is, and you're only seeing him now when the game is pretty well done and dusted.
Has also brought on Ryan Manning as well, hasn't he? So Paul Onuachu is off, Tyler Dibbling is on, and Carl Walker-Peters is off, and Ryan Manning has come on to replace Carl Walker-Peters. So 2 substitutions have been made in quick succession, a third overall for Southampton, who trail here by 3-0. I mean, the message pretty clear from those who watch and study everything to do with Southampton, that things haven't been any better since Juric walked through the door. I mean, he really wants to stay, I think.
But do you feel that the calibre of player was ever in the building? Did they do enough in the summer? You know, can you bridge that gap?
Absolutely not. There's no way that the recruitment had been right.
No, and the players that, you know, obviously you're looking at some of the players, the calibre, and it's not. If it's not there, it's very difficult for the managers. 2 successive managers. There's no surprise they're not really getting much out of them.
I suppose the accusation would be, it seems a little bit muddled that they recruited players and tried to shape a squad for a Russell Martin team and a style of play which was pretty clear and coherent, if maybe not effective in the Premier League because of the lack of talent in the squad. But then they've completely reverted and changed the style of play with the same set of players under the new manager.
Well, I think it was evident from the start, Russell Martin, they weren't really supporting him. It was a difficult circumstance for him to be in. It was a matter of time before he got the sack, and it hasn't got much better since.
Here comes Neto down the right-hand side. Been a busy old night in the Premier League. This is 3-0, probably over. Chelsea will be hoping to get some more goals, but Southampton have got possession deep inside their own half, trailing by 3-0. They've sent it long for Sulemana, trying to get the better of Malagusto. He heads it just in front of the Frenchman and then tries to take him on. He's being backed up now by Sancho. And Caicedo comes across to block the pass to Fernandes. It goes out of play and away for a throw which Ryan Manning will take. Brighton beat Bournemouth by 2-1. Palace beat Aston Villa by 4-1. Wolves beaten at home by Fulham by 2-1, and Chelsea 3-0 up here. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. It means that, OK, the title race might be over. OK, the race to stay in the Premier League might be over. But the race for European places is hotting up. Manchester City in 4th position have 44 points. And, well, Crystal Palace in 12th have 36 points. That's absolutely outstanding. The amount, I mean, talk about concertinaed. There's only 2 points between Aston Villa in 9th and Manchester City in 4th.
Yeah, and you look all the way up. So Villa 10th on 42 points and Man City 44. So there's a lot of teams, all those teams, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. I mean, this middle of the table now is really difficult, isn't it? Some really good teams in there.
Another reason why Chelsea need to put more goals on the board. Here on the left-hand side is Aribo getting down the left of the box, produces a cross deep towards the far post. It goes all the way through towards the back area of the penalty area, and it's behind. And now, well, I thought it was going to be for a corner, but according to the linesman over on the far side, that's a goal kick. I don't think the Southampton fans were that happy about it either. Well, there we are. It's 3-0 here. And Chelsea have a goal kick away to our left. They're warming up a few more substitutes now. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some younger players that came on. And I wouldn't be too surprised, actually, if we saw Wesley Fofana at some point after coming back from injury to be part of the group training this week, now on the bench tonight.
It's interesting, another goal kick. And Jurgensen he's had to shout to Sanchez.
Lovely turn by Sancho, taking the ball out of the sky, powering forward onto Neto. Miscontrols it. I mean, if Chelsea had scored from that, it would have been delicious, wouldn't it? Because they took their time playing out from the back. Jorgensen sent it up into the middle of the centre circle. Lovely turn by Sancho to get away from his marker. He released Neto eventually down in the right channel, and he just couldn't control it.
But that was young players there. You could see the goalkeeper, he's screaming at Palmer and Sancho. He's saying, look, come towards me so I can then hit this long to Neto, and then you can spin in and get it off the front player. And that's exactly what happened. They ended up with a shot on goal. They've forgotten to do it.
Well, that's where you need leaders on the park, and one thing that Chelsea have sort of lacked really is a lack of leaders. The oldest player, I think, is Tosin Adarabioyo at 27. Kukurea is 26. Nkunku's 27 as well. But in terms of leadership, it probably comes from Tosin and Kukurea more than anybody else. You know, there's not enough of that in the group, I don't think.
Absolutely, and that's what happens. What's the average age? 23 here.
Ball headed forward by Flynn Downs. He fell out with Ivan Juric the other week. He's come back in the team today. He'd missed the last 3 after a disagreement with the manager. Here is Enzo Fernandez powering forward. He's got space on the left for Gusto. He's played it behind him. Poor ball aimed up towards Neto. Headed away by Aribo. Poor header. Drops on the edge of the D. Palmer finds the ball to Fernandez, trying to roll it to Kukurea. Interception comes from Taylor Harwood-Bellis, and it's cleared away by Southampton over on the far side. Eventually Kukurea puts it out for a throw-in on halfway, which Tyler Diblin, who was here at Chelsea for a few weeks, he came here from Southampton 2022, didn't like it, went back after a couple of weeks.
I'd like to see a little bit more from him, Tyler Diblin, just coming on, you know, sweat a little bit.
He's only 19, isn't he?
Yeah, but run for your colleagues, you know. I know you're disappointed, you're sitting on the bench. There's been some great players come out of the academy at Southampton, and that's dried up really, but he's one that they're looking at. Is he feeling sorry for himself?
I think you wouldn't be too surprised if there was quite a few at Southampton that were feeling sorry for themselves. They're 3-0 down, and Chelsea haven't had to play that well to get 3 goals.
There's no time for that, I'm afraid.
20 minutes into the second. Well, they're not going to stay up, Martin, are they? I mean, they got 9 points. They've got absolutely zero chance of staying up.
Yeah, but you're playing, aren't you? Immediately you're playing for your future. Who wants to be here, who wants to be a part of what hopefully is going to be success in the future?
The only team that stayed up after 26 games, or the lowest points tally for a team that stayed up after 26 games, was West Bromwich Albion. They had 17 at this stage.
Yeah,
they're miles off that.
Kevin Campbell, God rest his soul, played a major part in that.
It did indeed. They've been. Is it full time at Stoke? Jeff Peters.
Yeah, Borough have beaten Stoke 3-1 to win a run of 5 defeats. 4 points from the playoffs now. They scored twice in the second half after Bae Jun-ho cancelled out a strike by Marcus Forss. Finn Azaz swept in the second before teeing up Tony Conway. A third defeat in 4 for struggling Stoke, beaten here 3-1.
5 minutes to go here. Chelsea defending now deeper, inviting a little bit of pressure. Here is Sulemana out to Aribo, who's sort of progressed further forward up the pitch now. They've gone to a back 4, Southampton, as they look to try and turn the tide in this game. A game that got away from him in the first half. It's a late challenge by Caicedo, who's going to be in trouble with Thomas Bramall. It is a yellow card. Caicedo, the second player tonight to go into the book, following Paul Onuachu.
Crazy challenge.
Especially in a game where
it just doesn't make any sense.
Nothing in it now.
Exactly.
Chelsea are an ill-disciplined team, and I think that comes with the youthful naivety. They've been given the most yellow cards in the Premier League this season. That's their 75th, which is 2 more than anybody else.
Lack of discipline, evident there.
Full-time at Cardiff, Lawrence Mora.
Yeah, all over. Cardiff 1, Hull 0. A first league win in 5 against relegation rivals. A huge night for the Bluebirds. Callum Robinson volleying the winner on 52 minutes. Hull had a huge chance with 5 minutes to go. Alfie Jones, though, heading straight at Horvath in the City goal. Cardiff moved 6 points clear of the relegation places. Cardiff 1, Hull 0.
Free kick taken by Ryan Manning, deep towards the far edge of the 6-yard box. Bella Kutchup is alongside it, and he heads it over the top, sort of stretching for it. It's behind and away for a goal kick. Jadon Sancho's night is over. He's replaced by Tyreek George. Dewsbury Hall is coming on as well, and the other change is going to be the withdrawal of Pedro Neto. So I imagine Tyreek George will go out to the left-hand side, and then Nkunku will go through the middle. Maybe George can play on the right. Young player, Tyreek George. from the Chelsea academy. He's been coming off the bench with regularity. He's 19 years of age. His 12th appearance of the season. He's a youth team graduate. He's ready to play, according to Maresca, but not 100% ready to play. It may well be that he goes through the middle.
Shows you the priority, though, with the manager taking both wingers off. Sancho, Neto wants to wrap them in cotton wool a little bit.
They haven't got a game for a little while, you know.
No, but it's an opportunity as well, isn't it, to look at a young player.
Mistake by Bella Kochap, and chasing him down is Tariq George, who's putting pressure now on Ramsdale. Will add a little bit of energy at the front end of the team. Tariq George is still awaiting his first Chelsea goal. He's been given a locker, his own locker now, in the Chelsea main dressing room at Cobham, which sort of suggests that the manager sees him as a part of the first team squad. And here he is, played down the right hand side, and he rifles the ball towards the near corner. And maybe he should have played that back across the face of goal there. Tariq George has played in beautifully down that right corridor, came across the opportunity to try and rifle it into the top corner of the net, the near post, and he took it.
Never looked balanced at any point, snatches at it. Early opportunity for him. You never know when that chance is coming. You come off the bench, you've got to be instantaneously ready. He wasn't there. He's one of their own, though, so they'll give him good support here.
Yeah. And I mentioned that Chelsea haven't got a game for a little while. In fact, they don't play till next Thursday night away in the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen. Leicester at home follows that, and then a game against Copenhagen here the following week before they take on Arsenal and Tottenham in quick succession. Out of the FA Cup, of course, so all their eggs very much in the chase for the Champions League places and the Conference League. Definitely is the Conference League, Martin.
Conference League, yeah, apparently I was told that before the game.
I know you don't go down that far in your European adventures.
Nor did Chelsea in years gone by.
Well, Chelsea want to be a team that completes the set. I don't think anybody else has won every single European competition. The Cup Winners' Cup, the Europa League stroke UEFA Cup, the Conference League, the Super Cup, and the
previous winners of the Champions League shouldn't be allowed, should they, in the Conference League?
Well, if they win it as well, they'll get a place in the Europa League, which would just take the burden off if they're having problems in the very competitive race for the European places in the
This is the Champions League club, and you know it. That's what they're aiming for.
Yep.
Big win here tonight. I know it's only Southampton, but he's got to keep winning.
They have got to keep winning. And you say that they're a Champions League club and that's what they're aiming for. Well, he's changed his mind a couple of times on that, Enzo Maresca, so far this season. Here is Cucurella out towards the left, and George has peeled off in that direction. He takes it on now, moving towards the edge of the penalty area. Cuts infield, looks up, plays it out to Malagusto, who's on the right for Chelsea. Attacking the Matthew Harding stand in this second half. A jam-packed midweek attendance here at Stamford Bridge. Here is Cucurella coming into midfield again, and he does do that so often and link the play quite well. Here is Nkunku taking over on the left corner of the penalty area, getting into the box, flicking the ball into the area, but again he didn't really do so with any sort of idea of where he was going to put that. He just sort of lifted it into the box in a hopeful manner.
It's a bit bitty around Nkunku. I think he would be better playing more centrally. I don't think he's a provider, to be honest. Looks hard work for him.
Here is Caicedo, 3-0 to Chelsea. And it looked hard work for them for the first 20 minutes or so before Southampton gifted them the first goal with poor marking at a set piece. And then it all really changed once Flynn Downs gave away that loose ball in the middle of the park and Chelsea capitalised and scored their second goal. Once that happened, well, they've just been in complete control of the match, and the shoulders slumped from Southampton. And Chelsea now just deciding to play the ball around inside their own 18-yard box, which is, again, just caused a little bit of frustration. The high press is on from Southampton. Chelsea have played around that. Got up out on the left-hand side with Tariq George playing it into Nkunku. Then it's on to Caicedo, and then it's in behind for Tariq George to canter into space in the left-wing position. He's got four arriving on the edge of the penalty area. One of them is Nkunku. He comes in and goes alone. Gets onto his right foot. Little back heel into Nkunku. Right-footed shot blocked by Aribo. Comes back out to Caicedo. Caicedo's shot is blocked by Harwood Bellis. Didn't need to shoot there. There were other options, but decided to go for glory, and Southampton eventually get it away.
Good move, though, from Chelsea. Tariq George there.
It's one of the best moves of the match.
Yeah, I just like the way he runs with the ball, actually. He reminds me of like an Anelka type, the way that he runs, which is high praise indeed. Lovely little back heel for him. It's good imagination. Nkunku then couldn't get the shot off quickly enough.
Currently Chelsea 3, Southampton 0, and for the latest odds you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can back Cole Palmer to score the next goal at 9-2. Christopher Nkunku is available at 6-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. This is Talksport, and the ball is over on the far side, and it's with Southampton, and they're looking to try and build up down that right hand side with Harwood Bellis, and they've given the ball away cheaply, and now Palmer is trying to take it away from Smallbone, gets into the penalty area, then tries to go round. Harwood Bellis is forced wide out of the box, needs a bit more support. I think his problem is, and it's been his problem I think whenever he comes up against anyone now, is that immediately as soon as he's got the ball, everybody doubles up on him.
Yeah, but he is a wonderful talent, there's no doubt about that. Was there, wasn't it, in abundance from a very young age. He just keeps probing, keeps moving. He's the lieutenant in there. He's a game controller.
He certainly is. Here is Tosin Adarabioyo. 17 to go on Talksport. Dewsbury Hall, a rare touch for him, a rare outing for him. He probably has been a bit too lightly raced for his liking. He was Leicester's midfield man under Maresca last season. This year he's been on the fringes. Actually was linked with a move to other Premier League clubs in the winter window.
But then I just feel sorry for the player, because he's been brought here by his previous manager and then he's not been used.
Here is Tyreek George taking the ball and trying to turn. I know where you're coming from, but Dewsbury Hall knew that they had Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo and Lavia, who were going to be ahead of him in the pecking order, surely.
Well, you assume, though, that the manager's got a plan for you, and he's going to, you're involved. He wants to improve things, so he brings you in. Certainly didn't expect to be a squad player.
Here is Enzo Fernandez playing it out towards Palmer. Palmer trying to travel down that left-hand side, has the route blocked by Tyler Dibling, gets it back again, that languid style, just holding on to the ball, rolling the studs over it, then pulling it back and feeding it into Tosin Adarabioyo.
It's walking football, isn't it, right now?
Yeah, it's
I think, Sam, you could get out there now and just have a little 10 minutes.
I'd probably pull my hamstring. Here is Malagusto running in from behind, trying to take the ball out of the sky, getting into the box. Across comes Aribo, nabs it, takes it wide towards the left-hand side. And then he runs up to halfway with the ball. Malagusto and Cucurella double up on him. They lose out, and Aribo moves forward at pace towards the edge of the penalty area. Needs support. Fernandez provides that.
He's ran 100 yards, by the way, before he's got another player anywhere near him. No one thought he could make it that far up the pitch.
Well, he isn't a centre-half, he is a midfield player, which is why I think he had the confidence to take the ball down the left-hand side and charge up the pitch. A little bit misshapen here, and Chelsea looking to take advantage. They play the ball through the press and find Enzo Fernandez. George is running down the right, it's aimed towards Palmer, but Bella Kochuk will get there first and just allow it to run across his body and into the arms of Aaron Ramsdale, and it remains 3-0 to Chelsea with 15 to go. It's Chelsea 3, Southampton 0. Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Here's Matheus Fernandes out wide towards the right. Sugawara with a cross, takes a deflection. Could have gone anywhere, that off Cucurella. Does go behind and away for a corner.
Well, I'm looking at Tyler Dibling again, and you might think, anyone listening, I'm having a go. Now, either he's making a point as if to say, well, you know what, I'm in a good position, edge of the box. You could at least look at me. You don't bother. You attempt a shot, and I just jog on. It looks like he's not even bothered.
Here is the corner over on the far side, and Smallbone is going to take it. And they've got Fernandez at the far post. He's got Harwood Bellis, who is just 2 yards inside the area. It's aimed in towards the near post. It's headed away by Tosin Adarabioyo. Comes back to Manning. Manning tries to funnel it forward. They're in trouble now because Chelsea are breaking with 6 and there's only 2 back, and Malagusto is steaming forward. Now Dibling gets back to help out his team. They play the ball wide to George. George inside the penalty area, faced up by Downs, gets to the byline, produces the cross, comes all the way through to Cucurella, and he slams it past the goalkeeper to make it 4-0. And from the Southampton set piece at the other end, when they were attacking the Chelsea goal, a lightning break by the Blues leads to a Chelsea 4th goal for Mark Cucurella. He finishes it off. Tyreek George with the assist, and Chelsea haven't had to do too much to attain a 4-goal advantage.
No, as you say, from one end of the pitch to the other, they're just too passive. Ball is just pulled back nicely. Cucurella takes a touch out his right foot, presents it in front of himself and just finds the bottom corner. Keeper absolutely no chance. And rarely do you see this at this level, but if this was a boxing match, the referee would have said, young man, you've taken too many blows. Well, it's better for your health that we take you off the pitch, because you're not able to play at this level, and they really won't be for much longer, because they simply haven't got enough points to even survive here, and they've just been taken apart here by a Chelsea team that's just coasting.
I mean, there's no pressure on the ball there. When it comes into Cucurella, he's inside the 18-yard box, he's able to take a touch, and there's just no pressure on him at all.
Because it's two young central defenders, and what they do is they fall into the goal, and you don't do that. You go up to the ball and you mark, and so the basics are missing, and there's an awful lot of work here that needs to be done, and it clearly isn't being done on the training pitch from between match to match.
I mean, how much do you sort of put at the door of the manager? How much at the sort of sporting directors and people who run the club? I mean, it's owned by a company called Sport Republic. Rasmus Ankersen, who was a sporting director previously at Brentford, is the co-owner of the group that owns the football club. I mean, how much do you put at their door? How much at Juric's door? I mean, Jason Wilcox, who is now the sporting director, technical director at Manchester United, was the technical director here before.
Yeah, look away, Manchester United fans. It's one of those where you think, can you see the semblance of a team here? Can you see any kind of spine in what they're trying to achieve? Dibling's got the ball here now.
I actually thought in the first 10-15 minutes of the game they came out with a game plan and they disrupted Chelsea, but once Chelsea
capitulated,
got away from that, they just sort of threw it away. I mean, they do capitulate, that's what they do, they fall apart. They lost 4-0 at the weekend, they lost 4-0, they're losing 4-0 here. I mean, they could concede another 5.
Yeah, but we just saw Aribo tries to get forward and no one bothers to go with him. Here they are on the attack now.
Here's Fernandes coming forward, he's got space out on the left for Ryan Manning in towards Sulemana down by the touchline. A little flick back to Manning with a big chance here. Across comes Enzo Fernandez to shut the door for Chelsea.
Yeah, Sulemana there, nice little flick, but where have you been in this game?
Yeah, I mean, we've followed the story of Southampton for a long time. The players that they've recruited just haven't been good enough to really compete at the Premier League level. 9 points at this stage of the season is pretty pathetic, really, isn't it?
Well, you're playing for pride when you're playing for that shirt, and there's a lot of fans here that have travelled to this game, and you've got to give a performance. And I'll be listening in at the end of the game to hear what the manager has to say.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you can't say they don't have players. They've used 34 players in the Premier League this season, more than anybody else in the league. I mean, maybe that's probably why they're having their worst season since 1970.
Well, no consistency. You want those partnerships forming all over the pitch, different formations, different managers. It's a sad state right now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work to do. And he was really angry after the Brighton game was Ivan Juric. But he said he was ambitious enough to want to put things right. He said you have to look at the root causes. Too many coaches with losing records means there's a structural problem. Clearly, I think he was appealing for time to fix it. He said his aim was to make Southampton a respectable Premier League team again.
And there's some way off that. Here
is Manning intervening before it can reach Tariq George. Across from Bella Kotchap inside his own penalty area, plays it to Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who quickly shuffles it out of his feet under pressure from Nkunku.
He takes risks as a central defender, that's for sure.
Up towards Dibbling trying to turn, tackled by Colwell, picks his pocket too easily, then shrugs him off and moves towards the edge of the penalty area, leaves it for the slender body of Cole Palmer, who rifles it into the side netting. And then there's going to be 2 changes here. Nkunku is coming off and Ashimapong is coming on, and the other change is going to see Moises Caicedo coming off as well. So Nkunku and Caicedo off, and on comes Josh Ashimapong, who signed a new long-term deal until 2029 in December. Is 6th appearance of the season for the 18-year-old. And the other introduction is that of Mathis Amugu, the 19-year-old Frenchman, who makes his debut for Chelsea, signed from St Etienne on an 8-year contract, made 17 appearances in Ligue 1 for St Etienne, was signed in the winter window. He was impressive at the Under-17 World Cup, and he's come into the Chelsea midfield for the final few minutes of this game. And what a great time to come in and make your debut in the Premier League if you're only 19 years of age.
Well, there's been a succession of Chelsea players over the years coming in, and so of course now's an opportunity to get them out there.
I think Mathis Amugu actually would have ended up going out on loan if Chelsea hadn't used all their international loan windows. Can only loan out a certain number of players these days, and that's why he is part of the first team squad. I think you will find at the end of this season, when they call back another one of their players that's at Strasbourg, he will go out to play there next season. And that is the club that Chelsea co-own. There is a free kick over on the far side. Divlin's given away a free kick. He's frustrating you tonight, isn't he?
He is, because the boy's got talent and he's not working. He's not working, and this was the club where he wanted to be, where he starts his career. And it's one of those, if this is where you wanted to do it, let's see it tonight. And it's not there. It's not a tap, that you just turn on and off as a player.
Up towards Nkunku, Gusto it goes. It's tackled by Ryan Manning and put out on the near side. Ashimapong, Chelsea centre-half, is playing it right back now. Will bring the ball in from the throw-in into Gusto, back towards Amugu. It's switched out to the far side. Tariq George working back, winning it ahead of Sugawara, and then getting the return from Fernandez, and off he goes again, long and lean and striding into Southampton territory. Tariq George cuts infield, gives it to Amugu, overruns the ball. Aribo nips in, wins it. A little back heel to Matheus Fernandez, and then Southampton look to try and play their way out, but Colwell comes across, dispossesses Sulemana, and the ball is back deep inside Southampton territory, wide on the left-hand side. It's Southampton trailing away at Chelsea by 4-0, live on Talksport on this Tuesday night with the Enterprise Rent-A-Car, whatever the mission, home or away. Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. And remember, straight after we finish here tonight, you'll be able to have your say. If you're a depressed Southampton fan, Jamie O'Hara and Dean Saunders will probably not pick you up. They'll just keep crushing your spirit, I would have thought. 03717 2233 4, and they'll probably enjoy it, because listening to the sports bar, actually, to be fair, if Cundy was on, it would probably be more like that. Dean Saunders might be more generous, to be fair.
He might be. I think we'll hear a few of those jingles, won't we? The laughing and chuckling you get on that show.
It's a sports bar, it's a little bit of banter, a little bit of chilling out.
Of course.
I wonder if they'll do... but they won't do the whole "Has anyone seen," will they, tonight? Because there's no Cundy.
Has anyone seen Southampton? Is that what you mean?
Here is Enzo Fernandez over on the far side. It's into Cole Palmer, who travels out towards the left-hand side. He turns it back. He's being chased and shadowed by Smallbone, but he's wriggled from his grasp.
You almost need two balls, don't you? Cole Palmer's decided, you know what, I'm just going to keep the ball. It'd be very interesting to see if anybody actually goes and runs after him.
He hasn't been able to score again tonight or assist tonight, but he has been able to make a contribution to this game, and he has seen a lot of the ball. And he'll be a little bit disappointed, I think, because he's had a couple of good chances that he hasn't scored.
Yeah, missed one early on, of course, which we got completely wrong.
3 minutes to go. There's a few sort of hearty Saints fans singing "When the Saints Go Marching In." There hasn't been much marching from the Saints for a long time, but their supporters at least are in fine voice. And I tell you what, they deserve a medal, don't they, for coming up here tonight and watching this team that don't ever win away from home.
Well, that's so interesting if the fans go over to them. I mean, sometimes as a player, you feel thoroughly embarrassed at the end of it, but the fans, they need to be rewarded for coming this way. They're still applauding their players.
Ball sent long by Chelsea up towards Dewsbury Hall. It scoots through to the orange-clad Aaron Ramsdale, and he will clear it away. Liverpool next away from home for Southampton. Doesn't get any easier.
No. I always enjoyed that away end, by the way. Canoe scoring a hat-trick here. I don't know if you remember. Were you even born then, Sam, by the way?
Sadly, I was. And Chelsea were leading in that game, weren't they? And then Nwankwo Kanu scored.
2-0, I believe.
Yeah.
Great day, that.
It's quite depressing, actually, Martin. Here is Colwell towards the edge of the penalty area.
I was just reminiscing as I looked across to the left-hand side there, you know.
It's fine, it's okay. It's good for you to come here and see what a European Cup looks like. Here is Enzo Fernandez shooting from the edge of the penalty area, and it's fisted away by Ramsdale.
Nice to see Ramsdale make a save.
That's out for a corner on the near touchline.
I mean, it's interesting. You look at him, Ramsdale, and when you see Pickford at Everton goes berserk, doesn't he, every time anyone has a shot? If he was in this goal for Southampton.
Well, off comes Enzo Fernandez, and on comes another debutant, 17-year-old Shamara Mueka, who was signed from Brighton, more commonly known as Shim. Has been touted as one of the most exciting talents in the Chelsea academy. He's going to replace Enzo Fernandez. Another 17-year-old coming into the Chelsea team. And a chance for him to have his bout. He's a forward, and he'll play a little bit further up as the one of the attackers in the final few minutes of the game. Mueka coming into the lineup. Sugawara has gone off for Southampton as they get ready for this corner, which is going to be taken away on this near side. Wellington has come on. Here's Palmer's delivery into the middle of the box. Mueka with a header, and his first effort in a Chelsea shirt, his first touch in a Chelsea shirt, is a shot on target.
Shim, yeah, 17 years of age. Incredible, isn't it? Just get my calculator out and work out the average age now of this Chelsea team that's out here at the moment. It must be one of the youngest we've ever seen finish a game.
And there's a load of teenagers out there now, Incredible. Isn't there? And still Southampton getting nowhere near them. In fact, actually, Chelsea have got better as they've got younger. And here it's Palmer, played in down by Ashimapong. Bundles away from Manning. Wins the free kick on the edge of the penalty area. And with 4 minutes of added time, it might be that Chelsea believe that there's another goal in this yet.
Well, yellow card for Manning just allows Palmer to make that run inside of him. You did feel there, actually, that the goal might come at that point. Was edge of the box, gets brought down. Instead, it's a free kick for him, and he's pretty decent from this area too.
Well, Cole Palmer has the ball in his hands. He's rubbed it up his jersey. He's taken the moisture off the new Nike ball, the third ball of the season that has been designed for the Premier League.
Says he doesn't practice these, remarkably. Just turns up and does it.
Well, sometimes if you're that good, it's probably best not to waste it on the practice ground.
Well, playing around England's games with David Beckham, he was out after every training session. At least 20 balls doing this. This guy doesn't bother.
Well, he's got a free kick here, which is 8 yards outside the penalty area. It's a shade right of centre. There's a 4-man wall. Then there's another one just standing in front of a 2-man decoy wall that Chelsea are trying to distract Aaron Ramsdale with. If he goes wall side, there's a bit more space, but he's got to get it up and down. Goalkeeper is at the far post. It's Palmer who steps up, left-footed. He goes towards that far corner and he draws a save out of Aaron Ramsdale. He didn't have to spring too much to push it round the post and out for a throw-in over by the corner flag.
No, great effort, without doubt. True, hits that really true, doesn't he? So accurate. Maybe not high enough. Ramsdale able to get across.
Well, this will be a 12th defeat in 14 top-flight fixtures for Southampton. I'm not sure this will quell too many of the frustrations of the Chelsea support, but it's been a good night for them in terms of goal scoring this evening. It means they will go up into the top 4, 2 points clear of Manchester City, ahead of Manchester City's game tomorrow night. Newcastle play tomorrow night as well. They're in the race for the top 4 or 5 as it possibly will be. At the moment, Nottingham Forest 47 points in 3rd, Chelsea 4th, 46 points, 5th, Manchester City 44 points, Newcastle 6, 44 points. They play tomorrow. Bournemouth have dropped to 43 points. They're in 7th place. Brighton 43 points in 8th place. 9th, Fulham 42 points. 10th, Aston Villa 42 points. That's 4 points separating the team in 4th and the team in 10th.
I think it's handy for Chelsea. You say their next home game is Leicester as well, so there'll be another 3 points potentially there.
Don't upset Ruud van Nistelrooy. You've just made friends with him.
Well, if he's still going to be there, by the way, that's 10 defeats from the last 11.
Anyway, I know that if he does turn up, you'll apologise to him again. Here is Sulemana.
Be the better man. You've got to be the better man, you know.
Moving up towards the edge of the penalty area. Taken away by Amugu, and Chelsea have it deep inside their own half. It's back to Tosin Adarabioyo, kicks it long up over the halfway line. It's won by Bella Kotchap. We've played nearly 94 minutes now, and the referee Thomas Brown was almost being urged to sort of put Southampton out of their misery. But here is Sulemana getting down the back of Ashiapom, who just actually edges him off the ball, goes out for a goal kick away to our left hand side, and we've played our minutes now. And Chelsea have finally kept a clean sheet. 9 Premier League games without the one, Martin, and all of a sudden they have got one. But then again, as it will be thrown at them tomorrow when everybody starts talking about how well they've done tonight, they have been playing Southampton.
They have, and totally dominated, over 60% possession. Southampton just not at the level, as we've said. You know, we don't want to continue to egg the point. But I don't see anyone really. Walker Peters can say that he had a decent game, went off injured. Everybody else really has been second rate here tonight.
Well, Chelsea beat Southampton to keep their Champions League hopes alive, but let's be honest, had they failed to have beat Southampton, they wouldn't have deserved to be in that conversation anyway. In the absence of Nicholas Jackson, they spread the goals around tonight. Nicholas Nkunku got on the score sheet. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. The final goal scored by Mark Cucurella. Neto and Colwell also on the score sheet this evening. It gives them just a 4th win in 13 games. All of those wins have come against relegation-threatened sides or lower league opposition. So no one around here will be getting carried away just yet. It is job done from Chelsea. That is all. Southampton woeful. Chelsea 4, Southampton 0.
And just a reminder of those Premier League scores tonight. They're all available live and exclusive commentaries only across the Talksport network. Brighton 2, Bournemouth 1, Crystal Palace 4, Aston Villa 1, Wolves 1, Fulham 2, and here it's just finished, as you just heard, Chelsea 4, Southampton 0, and Chelsea with a big, much-needed win. Southampton with more confirmation that they're just simply nowhere near good enough for the Premier League. I'll run you through all the full times very, very shortly, but Martin Keown, you've watched that. It was a formality, really, the second half, and maybe Southampton showed a little bit more when Dibbling came on, but not much more. But they're easily the worst side in the Premier League, aren't they? They were dreadful.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I came in for a little bit of criticism on Tyler Dibbling because I expected more when he came on, and I just thought that he kind of like, he says it all because he looked like he was sulking, and that the manager wanted a reaction. He made a number of changes here tonight, I think 5 changes, played with a similar system. They started the game quite well, pressing, and it was more a case of Chelsea weren't quite sorted in their build-up, and then they gave away basically all 3 goals in the first half. They're 3-0 down at half-time. Cucurella gets a 4th. It was really comfortable here. It was almost like a practice game, really, for Chelsea. You know, different front 3, and Neto gets a goal, gets an assist. Looked quite decent in that role. Played as a centre forward for most of the evening. And Nkunku grabbed the first, and hopefully that'll do his confidence the world of good. And next up for them in the Premier League is Leicester. So some good points on the board for Chelsea tonight. We got this epic battle, really, for a top 4, top 5 place.
Oh, we really have. I mean, it's truly something else, the battle for the European places, no question about it. I think this is going to be something that continues as well through the course of the season, and we'll get to that in a second. If you were running Southampton Football Club, what would you do? Because it's all about getting back next season, but it's also about building something. And it sounds like they're starting totally from scratch, because Dibbling probably isn't going to be there next season, and he's a young player they could build around, but probably won't be there. What do you do if you're running Southampton Football Club? I mean, where to start with it?
Well, I mean, I think you look at it, Ramsdale, I assume, will leave the football club and he'll go elsewhere, so they'll be making sales. So you wonder how many of those players, you talk about Dibbling, how many will be actually taken, so they'll lose the best players. And it really is a rebuilding. And you look at that club over the years, you know, the Gareth Bales, and you look at Theo Wilcox and all these players that they've had, succession of players that have come through the ranks, that seems to have dried up, so they can't really lean on that. So there really is a rebuilding, and it's about recruitment and getting the right players in, the right core, and I don't really see that in the team right now. Of course, the gulf between the Championship and the Premier League, we might well see the 3 teams for 2 years successively that have come up go straight back down, and that's worrying, because can they bridge the gap now? Maybe we shouldn't be so critical, but I've not seen anything from this team that have just come up. I've seen Ipswich give me the feeling that they might get out of trouble, but not this team here at Southampton. And I think tonight really has really underlined the point how far behind they are in the Premier League.
Yeah, it is a concern that for 2 seasons running, the 3 that came up are going to go down. However, I think that those coming up next season will be sharply aware of that and know they've got to do things differently and try to do things differently. We shall see. So,
well, those teams, I mean, we saw that last night, didn't we? That you've got Leeds in there, Sheffield United have not that bounce effect, and they've not been away from it too long. So they've got the parachute payments, and they've kept a little bit of a core. So it might not be as difficult for some of those teams, Burnley in there as well, of course, to maybe stay. And that's what you want. You want them to stay up. You don't want them to go straight back down again.
I think the other thing is Leicester came up as champions and lost their manager, which might have been difficult for them. They had to rethink. But it is difficult to stay in the Premier League, because if you look at Wolves, who've been in relegation, they're still in relegation trouble. They could still go, but they are above the dotted line. They've got some brilliant players: Aït-Nouri, Cunha, Jose Sarr. You look at João Gomez in midfield. They've got some really good players, but that's the level of quality you have to have to have a chance of survival.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Semedo from Barcelona. You look at him and think, God, he can do more. They give you a belief that they've got that quality. It's there, no doubt. And in the end, I think that quality just rises above, doesn't it? They find the necessary results. And Wolves are now a difficult team. They made for a difficult opponent. And Fulham going and winning there after losing at the weekend is quite remarkable. I mean, they're going really well. I really like Traore. I like Iwobi. They've got so many attacking intent. The Premier League just gets better and better each year, but there's been some really good business by Fulham, to make the next step. And they're now themselves, they're on the edge of, being in the mix for the Champions League. Can you believe it?
Well, Marco Silva's had 3 or 4 years to build that, and this is where he's at right now. They're 9th in the table at the moment, Fulham. Just go back to Tyler Dibbling. I'm intrigued by your views on him, because he's a young player who's come into the side this season, wasn't really playing last season. He's come into the side this season. Russell Martin got him in the team and he believed in him. This manager has taken Tyler Dibbling out of the starting 11 and put him on the bench, and that's basically saying to him, Martin, I don't think you're worth a place in this 11, and this is the worst team in the Premier League. I know we all think he's good, but in his own head, he's still very young. That is something that could shatter confidences. Now, I think he's been mismanaged by the new man.
Well, I mean, I've given him a lot of criticism tonight, but I'd be building the team around him.
Yeah.
100%.
I can't understand the logic of leaving him out.
No, and we talk about Palmer, and we talk about the players that play centrally, and I call them game controllers. And that's what Dibbling is. He should be moving into a central area. And he was doing that. I saw him play against Brighton, where they did all right in a game earlier in the season. And I thought, okay, yeah, put him in the middle, because he can handle the ball under pressure. He can make the difference. He can find a pass. He has to be in that middle area. Let somebody else run the flanks for him as a decoy. But tonight he came on, he looked like a bit part player. And it's like, if you're in his camp, you're saying, hey, fella, I understand you're down, but you've got to put a performance in. You were here in this academy at Chelsea, and they turn their back on you. You need to show them what they're missing and what they've missed out on, and they've made a mistake, and he didn't show me that tonight.
Southampton well beaten. They're bottom of the table. They're definitely going down. We'll talk about Chelsea, because it's time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Well, it's definitely not going to be a Southampton player. I'm pretty certain of that. Martin Keown, who are you going for as man of the match?
Well, I'm going to go with Neto, who at the start of the game didn't look anything but a centre forward, but in the end he grabs a goal and he got an assist, and it was a good evening for him.
I think he's a really good player, but hasn't really shown enough this season at Chelsea, has he?
No, but another player, as you say, from Wolves. That again, Jota was there, wasn't he, as well? So many good players that they picked up, with that sort of Portuguese connection that they've got there, or did have. And Neto, looks a really good purchase. It'll be somebody that the manager here will be pinning a lot on between now and the end of the season.
By the way, you asked in commentary what the average age of the Chelsea team was. Finished the game with all the teenagers that came on, 21 and a half.
I love that, Adrian. That's what that sets you apart, the way that you've worked on that. First class.
If you'd known how I struggled in maths at school, you would appreciate it even more. Can you guess the oldest player for Chelsea on the pitch at the end of the game?
Palmer.
No, it's Tosin Adarabioyo. 27 years old, which actually shocked me. I didn't realise he had that many years behind him.
Can't believe he got a contract here. Can you? He must have come on a free.
He did.
Exactly that.
I think they didn't know his age either. He was 27. He is 27. Cucurella is 26. Palmer 22. And he feels like he's been around for years, but he's only 22 years old. Pedro Neto, man of the match for Martin Keown from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.